Gamecock Larry's on hold, ladies and gentlemen. Good news.
Boy.
Starting off a Friday morning where I just got the message from Jen. Our favorite 86-year-old caller's already on hold at 6:06 in the morning. Why wouldn't he be? Especially after hearing at length from Shane Beamer yesterday. A little bit more than 35 minutes, I think. First time we've heard from him after he's officially blown the whistle at a practice for the Gamecocks, and was asked about that yesterday. Got an interesting look on his face, thinking about the first time he did that as a head coach, and that's really kind of what stuck out to me. Bill, what stuck with you yesterday from what you heard from Shane Beamer after 3 spring practices?
The very first thing that stuck out with me is there will be no such thing as a short Shane Beamer press conference. Beamer's going to be a talker. That's what. I mean, look, there was nothing that he was going to say. I didn't think there was anything he was going to say where I was going to be like, whoa, there's big news for Carolina football. Like, I didn't expect him to go, yep, 3 practices. We've seen enough from Luke Doty. He's going to be the starter. Or, I had Jason Brown 1 practice in. Probably need to elevate him to first team. Or, this defense, I like what I'm seeing. I'm thinking it's going to be 2010-esque. There wasn't, I didn't think, I'll say this for Shane. In terms of talking about the team and the players, I'm noticing more and more he's closely guarded with what he says, and it looks like right now he doesn't like to speak to individuals. He talked a little bit about individuals when pressed yesterday, but it's more about the team, how guys are doing. A couple of those he referred to just position groups and how they flashed. And I think that's right now as you continue to try and build a team and not individuals, which is no knock against Will Muschamp, but I think there was more of an individual mindset under Muschamp. I think that's what you're seeing is a big difference between Muschamp and Shane Beamer. Beamer is working to build a team, and right now you don't hear him going out of his way to praise leaders, individual guys who are standing out. Obviously, he did mention some. I thought the part where he was talking about the defensive backs. But I noticed that, and I don't know if you do either, he's not going out of his way to say one singular guy is doing this or one singular guy is standing out that way.
Now, I heard you say that. I think this was the last time you had a press conference, and I was buying it, but I did not notice him going out of his way to do that yesterday. Several names came out. I think it might be the natural byproduct of 3 practices in. Also, I think we might be overhyping that after the way that the Will Muschamp era ended. But we'll see. It's still early on. And, 3 practices in is how much can you know? How much do you take from the early evaluations? And this coaching staff's at such a point also where they're actually adjusting the early schedule and doing, I think, less next week than they had originally planned, so they can get more guys healthy and evaluate maybe a little bit more before moving on. Good morning to Lamont, Chris, and Josh up early with us on the live video stream. All those guys on the Facebook live stream. By the way, the live stream sponsored by Buford Lending. We're on YouTube Live, on Twitter as well. You can find us on that station handle at 1075 The Game. The Cool Care Heating and Air text line. John K. Spot on, Bill. We instead of me. Oh, you can go with another sports cliche. Play for the name in the front instead of the name in the back. Yep. We never even said that during Will Muschamp's time, did we? Boy, Muschamp's he's singling out individuals. It seems to be more of an individual-based approach for this coaching staff as opposed to others. We never did that during the time, or we do this just retroactively now?
I think it's definitely retroactive, but I think it's just because you hear. I still think some of it is the way you saw the season end, whether you agree with it now after Tuesday, or whether you still disagree with it. You seeing how the season ended, feeling like there was more of an individual approach to the season, and not a team first approach. I think there's a lot of things that we saw at the end of the Muschamp era that was a turnoff, and then you kind of go back and you retroactively look at it and you say, oh, okay, well maybe that's because of the way he talked. Maybe obviously if he talked that way, that was the way he promoted the football program. Um, both in recruiting and then when kids were in the ops building. So I don't know. Does it mean that South Carolina is about to win 7 or 8 or 9 games and all because of a different approach? No, but I do think it's a different way of doing it. And for a program that I still do think is not just a fan base, but a program that I think that's a little scarred and the mindset is a little flawed, I do notice it being a tad different. Again, I don't know what that's going to mean. I have zero clue what that means when adversity hits in either game, in any of the first 3 games. But I do just feel like it's a different approach when discussing his football team and what's happening in practice.
The main difference I saw as far as discussing things with the media at this point was he was asked specifically about what's going on at the nickel position right now and who you got working there. And from that standpoint, he didn't want to say, oh, yeah, it's this guy. And it was refreshing to hear his approach there. It was more hey, that's not our biggest concern right now. We're looking to get the best 11 guys on the field. And, yeah, we got some guys working there, and they're in and out. But we're not at that point, as opposed to I feel like if Will Muschamp had been asked that, he would have listed 4 guys who are working there specifically and probably exactly what he's seen out of those guys. And maybe the nub side would have come up. Maybe the overhang defender, possibly, maybe working in phase and out of phase. And that did not pop up at all. It was much more of a big picture approach from that standpoint. One thing I noticed from yesterday, we'll play some of the highlight clips from yesterday's 36 or so minute press conference from Shane Beamer after 3 spring practices. Let you hear a little bit from Carolina baseball coach Mark Kingston after Carolina calls. And a little bit more info about his early exit at Vanderbilt. Certainly notable. And then what they're doing with the pitching staff this weekend, going with the usual Friday and Saturday starters against Florida is the plan. With Florida coming to Founders Park starting tonight, 7 o'clock. First pitch, 6:45 airtime right here on 107.5 The Game. Thomas Farr going to be the usual Friday night for the Gamecocks. Brandon Jordan, Saturday guy. And then TBA on Sunday, giving the coaching staff some more flexibility, and it will be really interesting to see how Carolina handles that and how they compete this weekend against Florida after a wild swing after the 11-game win streak to start the season, 6-game losing streak, and then down at Vanderbilt before Mark Kesey got kicked out. They came back and won that game. No problem with the Citadel on Tuesday. So going into this ball game, 13-6. But 1-2 to start SEC play. So we'll get into plenty of Gamecock baseball as we roll along. We've got the NCAA tournament back. Bill, it's been a solid pause, and I was thinking about this last night. I was wondering why they didn't change the schedule more. In years past where you had to travel all over the place to go from one round or after the first 2 rounds to the next site. It made sense that you have basically 4 or 5 days off between rounds. This one doesn't quite make as much sense since you're in the bubble anyway. The men up in Indiana and the women in Texas, but I understand the TV schedule, probably the main concern there. I've missed getting the NCAA tournament back. I kind of got spoiled, I feel like, in that window that we had things pushed back, and it was Thursday through Monday of last week. Now I'm looking forward to some more basketball and to see if we get any kind of more madness or if things start playing out with the higher seeded teams hopping to the forefront here and cashing some Final Four tickets over the weekend.
Yeah, again, the schedule is definitely a little odd, skewed, whatever you want to use, because there is none, as you said, there's none tonight. It all picks back up tomorrow. And we'll actually go through Tuesday and then jump right back into the Final Four the following Saturday. So, honestly, did they ever put out an explanation for why this is the schedule? just trying to make sense of it. Do you ever remember anything? I never looked. I just kind of saw the schedule and looked at it and went, oh, okay, that's the way it's going to be. That's fine. But now that we get through it, yeah, I missed a little bit of Sweet 16 action last night, which is what we would do. We'd be sitting here talking about teams that advanced to the Elite Eight this morning, but it would be gearing up for another afternoon and night of college basketball and getting ready for the Elite Eight. But instead, we'll wait one more day and it'll make for a nice weekend. You get South Carolina baseball tonight, huge series. Need to look at the weather report in a little while. Need to kind of break down what that's going to be, and then you get the basketball this weekend. We have a few updates. South Carolina's supposed to have offensive players speak with the media later today, so you'll get to hear a little bit more from South Carolina football, and then you also got the World Golf Championship match play events going on, which makes it kind of entertaining.
Yeah, you got into that a little bit yesterday. I haven't checked it out.
I did. I was pretty heavily into it yesterday, involving that too. But yeah, I was pretty heavily into it yesterday.
Anybody specifically? I saw Kevin Kisner might have won his first match there. Have they just gone through one match at this point?
Two. Yesterday was match number 2, or for most of them it was match number 2. And I believe I was a little confused on how they were doing it. I believe today will be a 36-hole double match situation where you'll play the final group match, 4 guys in a group, go round robin event, and then they'll move on to the knockout stage in the afternoon. I believe is how it's expected to be. I think the big one today is Matt Kuchar versus Kevin Kisner, which was the rematch of last year's final pairing championship match, I guess I would say.
The headline I'm reading there for this event down in Austin is that Dustin Johnson battles to a tie with a guy I've never heard of before. I guess he's from Scotland. Bob McIntyre had an eagle and a clutch birdie to send the match to the final hole. Both missed birdie chances. So, and he's the only one of the top seeds that kind of survived yesterday, I guess is the headline at the World Golf Championship match play. And it was Kevin Kisner beating Justin Thomas. Is that what went down? Oh, no, Kevin Kisner is the defending champ. And yeah, it is. Wow, I forgot that
jumped all over him and held on to win. I think 2-0 or 2. What is it?
2-1.
2-1 is that the I forget. Yeah, but ended up I was gonna say 2. Yeah, whatever it was. But yeah, held on to win. I think he got up 4 early on and kind of held on to win.
Would be impressive at 2-0. That means you're up 2 holes with none left. I think you would just win +2. The match play verbiage is odd in golf for sure, even for those of us, you and me, who do follow golf pretty well or pretty extensively. It does pop up kind of weirdly, but this is a fun event, especially in conjunction with March Madness and a tournament format. Obviously, this one follows that and just happens to fall at the same time. Good for Dustin Johnson. So the South Carolina influence starting off pretty well there with the former Dutch Fork High School standout and DJ, and the Aiken native and Kevin Kisner being the defending champ and knocking off Justin Thomas. Impressive stuff there. Chris hits us up. Disappointed not to see Patrick this morning. No Big Carrot. Yeah, he's taking this morning off. He's got some buddies and their dad's in town, so a much-deserved day off, morning off for Patrick Perrette this morning. So you'll have to put up with Bill, me, and Jen holding things down in the Herndon Chevrolet Studios in downtown Columbia. At Tim Hill 1075, where you can find me on Twitter. Bill is at Will Gunter with 1L. Jen is at Jen Jensen Morse. 803-404-6100, the number where you can find us, or you can hit us up on. You can call us, or you can text us. Unfortunately, we're going to hear from our favorite 86-year-old caller when we come back, as well as a little bit of Shane Beamer from yesterday after 3 practices in, some of his comments. Glad you're starting your Friday morning with us. We'll try to get you off to a good start headed into your weekend. It's the early game here on 107.5 The Game.
Second half magic again.
Well, big morning, Friday morning, going to be ready for a huge weekend. Baseball, basketball, a little golf taking place. Should be some good weather. Maybe you want to do a little house hunting. Maybe you're ready to get out and find that dream home that you've been thinking about and ready to make the purchase. Well, if that's the case, you need to go ahead and contact the Mortgage Guru. Before you even go and start looking, contact Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank. You can give him a phone call this morning, 803-719-1005. He is helping families more than ever right now save $200, $300, $400 on their monthly payments. He's even added Brian Kovar to the team so they can take on even more home buyers. That's right. The housing market's so hot right now. He's gone out and added help. You can give him a call this morning, 803-719-1005. Brian wanted me to tell you the housing market's so hot right now. Don't get caught watching the paint dry. Know where that came from? Hoosiers. Brian was very excited about that, saying that's the point right now. The deals are great. The market is hot. It is a great time if you're looking to refinance or if you're looking to make that purchase. Give the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder, a phone call, 803-719-1005. You can email him the letter J, Crowder, CROWDER, at firstpalmetto.com. They want to help you. You want trustworthy professionals on your team, and these are the guys to do it. Jacob Crowder, Brian Kovar with First Palmetto Bank. Give them a call this morning, 803-719-1005. Coffee time. Got a late start, just a few late minute start, so no coffee during the first segment, but it's time, coffee time.
Worst song ever.
Great song.
I don't think so. I think you said tomorrow or Sunday he's going back to the creamer, though, Chris.
Yeah, I might have some this morning.
Seeing them all.
Okay. Are there any
What's that?
particular femur cuts you want? Because I just have a solid 14 minutes of him. I don't have the cuts.
No, if you want to do it from there, or you can yank it from YouTube. I know it's the 17-minute mark-ish. You're probably 2 cuts there that were more big picture stuff, about 3 practices in, what they've seen from an evaluation standpoint. It might be easier to yank it from there than from the 14-minute version. And then would also like to hear, I think Dave said he cut something about the ejection there for Mark Kingston from Carolina Calls, but it's pretty lengthy. Would love to cut that down to about 30 seconds or so.
Yeah. Okay.
So the 17-minute mark in that YouTube version of Shane Beamer is where you can find
Those 2. Okay.
a couple of cuts, I think.
You do?
Thank you. Well, you see, Matt Rule was very,
Very complimentary.
let's say, judicious with his help. So there's a couple of different cuts, I think, from him. One about the facility and then one about Marcus Satterfield.
I didn't hear the one about Satterfield.
Yeah, I think they put that one out yesterday. Maybe we'll get Jen to steal those as well. We'll pop those up. And then we'll talk a little bit about spring game stuff here.
Okay. spring game stuff?
We're not coming back yet. I didn't get that
Gotcha.
in there. 2 more minutes.
Oh, big day plan. Gonna go to Lowe's. I'm being dead serious. This is not quoting any movie. Gonna go to Lowe's and buy a hose box, maybe even a new hose.
That is a huge day.
Yeah, I looked last night. Yeah. Continue to fix up the outside. Fix up the back deck, clean it up, make it look a little bit more professional.
And you're getting those lights done.
Yeah, I need to. I haven't heard. I just haven't had a chance to email the guy back. He said he'd come do it, but he's got 3 kids. He's doing it kind of. I mean, I'm going to pay him, but I'm kind of doing it as a favor. Oh boy.
You got stuff going on your phone at 6:27 in the morning?
Well, yeah, I've got one text message, and then Josh just said, Josh just asked for another AAA 30-second. And then I need to go in and just cut some sentences for you for the Crowder thing. There was one little thing on the, Jen, can you hear me?
I think she's editing right now.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, business, Tim. Business starts at 6 a.m. when I wake up.
Yes, why don't you discuss that business maybe offline?
All right, head back in.
It's a small thing. You got to give. Hey, this is part of the live stream.
You're up.
All business this morning at 6:28. Welcome in.
Right, Tim. Friday morning, you wake up. It's gonna be. It really is gonna be. You know, a year ago, Tim, we really at this point had lost everything, right? We were
From a
heading.
sports perspective, for sure.
Major League Baseball starts this coming week. I believe the Braves open Thursday. Does that sound right? The first?
Yes, sir. And you can hear it, by the way, this year. Our sister station, ESPN 1320 AM, going to have all the Braves games. We'll have some for you here on 107.5 The Game as well.
Yeah, but I mean, it was about this time last year. We were out. We were out of stuff. No college baseball. NCAA tournament had been canceled. Golf was gone. Spring football was gone. NBA, NHL. I mean, it was all gone. It's funny. I can look back here in a few seconds, and just kind of see like on this day what we might have been doing. There was some kind of zaniness. What was it? The 26th technically, I guess, would have been a Thursday last year. Thursday was like we were sitting at home watching throwback sports, I believe.
Sure.
But in terms of a sporting weekend, it's going to be a pretty good one. So, yeah, you got to get the business out of the way here. It's 6:30 on a Friday morning. They get geared up. We've got South Carolina women's basketball Sunday at 1 o'clock in the Sweet 16 against Georgia Tech. You've got the men's kicking off, getting back going away tomorrow. Again, huge series starting over at Founders Park tonight. You've got you do have spring football. You'll get to hear from some players today. I think it's some interesting players too. Let me go back and see if I can look at the list. I know Randrakus Davis, who's back for his 22nd year of college football, will speak today. One of the guys that opted out completely last year will be back. I believe Ortre Smith is on that list. Yep, Marshawn Lloyd. Tim, you realize this will be the first time we hear from Marshawn Lloyd today.
Yep, just like the first time we heard from Jordan Birch. Those guys that you mentioned, you were giving me
Doty today. Yes, by the way, Craig weighs in on the live stream. Luke Doty will speak today. Yes, he gets to speak today. I mean,
you're giving me the take that Shane Beamer was going more of a team deal and not so much as individuals, but he did point out Jordan Birch was the first player I think he named talking about kind of flashing in a special teams drill. He pointed out specifically Ortrey Smith has looked good with the wide receiver group and back. He didn't say back in form or anything like that. I know that's what Gamecock fans are hoping for, but he did mention him specifically, and another guy who opted out last year and has not been quite the same after an injury going into his sophomore season, after a big-time first year at the wide receiver position. And him talking about the wide receivers was a really interesting segment of his 36 minutes or so that he spoke with the media yesterday. Again, we'll let you hear some of that in a minute, but please continue with your take on the weekend, sir.
I'm just kind of excited about the weekend. Now, I will say we're expecting rain here. Let's get the official weather report, not Jen's weather report, where she just kind of makes stuff up as she goes. But the official Gunner weather report. Everybody knows that those 3 weeks in meteorology school pays off dearly for me. Old Papa Gunner spent a ton of money for me to go, but just looking today, bad news. Looks like rain picks up this afternoon about 1 o'clock, jumps into the 60 percentile range, 66, 63, then starts to diminish as we head toward tonight. By 7 o'clock, 24%. So it looks like we're going to get mid-afternoon showers, but if they keep that field tarped, I think you got a great chance of getting the game in tonight. Might just not start on time, but that's going to make for a lot of fun. Again, practice for football will be this morning. The Doties, the Lloyds, the Smiths, all will speak via Zoom about 11:30, so that should be good. Basketball, as you are well aware, I believe, is played indoors. I feel like, Tim, this is where we miss Patrick. I feel like there's probably some big NFL combine or pro day taking place this week that you and I would have zero clue about, but there's probably that going on. Yesterday, by the way, just in terms of sports, I know a lot of you don't get into the NBA. Huge day as the trading deadline took place. Huge day yesterday. Chris Silva gets traded yesterday from the Miami Heat. Do you know where he got traded?
No clue. Did hear a bunch of deals there in our update, but did not realize Chris Silva was part of it.
Chris Silva gets sent packing to the Sacramento Kings. I was disappointed to see that yesterday. The Heat did acquire Victor Oladipo. The Orlando Magic went all in on tanking for Cade Cunningham. The Houston Rockets are doing their best to tank for Cade Cunningham, sending Oladipo to the Heat. So, really, I mean, again, I guess it's one of those things where I remember where we were a year ago, and I look at this weekend, and it's going to be a really fun weekend. It's going to be a good food weekend. Tim, are you a griller? You get out on the grill, or you the? Why do I feel like
I will do it? I do not consider myself a griller. I'm not an expert at all. I'll do it.
Get the boys out, and even if you throw some burgers on, you throw the football in the backyard. The grill will be all smoking up, and have some good smell of meat there on the grill. Throw around the football with the boys. I know it's just, although yesterday it was yellow. Was it not? Was yesterday just not a yellow day?
It's that time of year, man. But that's back to your point. If we can be at the point where we're complaining about pollen, we've come a long way in a year. And I'll take it. I'll take any kind of pollen complaints, any kind of. I'm trying to remember if the allergies start hitting me to remember what it was like last year, and not to worry about it too much. Wanted to get back in the Gamecock football discussion. Chris, on the Facebook live stream, we've got the facilities, we got the talent. Now I believe we have the coaches to bring that talent to the field and win some games. Craig says Beamer is so anti-Muschamp. He just gets it with the fans. He realizes we want to have some insight in the program. It got to the point where I hated hearing Will Muschamp's pressers. Yesterday, another question that stands out to me now in kind of that spirit is Shane Beamer was asked about his players mentioning they're having fun again. And there's a really fine line that I feel like that Shane went on with his answer, and it was pretty authentic, I think, and that's a word we'll probably overuse, and Shane has mentioned that as well. But about football being fun, but SEC football is hard. And what stuck out to me was the line that when the Gamecock football players pull into the parking lot at the football facility, Beamer said he doesn't want them to dread coming into the building, the Long Family Football Operations building. Doesn't want them to dread going into work, even though it's going to be very difficult and they're going to be held accountable and the whole thing. Don't want them to dread that. And I feel like that's the real challenge he has right now, right? Because you don't perform to a high level this season, and all of a sudden you are way too warm and cuddly and fuzzy, and as a first-year head coach, you're not business-like enough. But if you come in and you're too far all business, then you lose the players from that standpoint, and you're kind of the second iteration of the guy you just had.
You know, I don't think the comparison is 100% the same, because I don't think Tommy Bowden was Will Muschamp. But, you know, we made a lot of fun of Dabo Swinney for being ultra positive, right? Like ultra positive early on in his career, in his tenure, and the things he would say. And it's worked. You know, Clemson fans can say, oh, you guys made a lot of fun of Dabo Swinney, and now you want one. Well, you know what? It worked. And I think one thing with South Carolina football that either I can't wrap my head around, I'm not willing to believe, I'm not sure I trust my opinion on it, I'm not sure what it is that the South Carolina football program was both broken from a fun standpoint. I think the videos, this is where the hype videos can fool you. We would see the hype videos of the players and Will Muschamp out on his boat and playing basketball or, you know, riding around. We'd see him doing some drills or workouts, and you saw a lot of team camaraderie and you saw happiness. But it feels like in talking with people, especially in the last year, that was not the feeling around the program. And where I compare Beamer to is I feel like he's having to be more Dabo Swinney, almost the complete rah-rah guy, and letting your coaches coach. Just letting your coaches coach and work with their players, whether it's Marcus Satterfield in the offensive scheme or Clayton White in the defensive scheme, letting your coaches coach while you present an ultra-positive message about your football team. And is what I'm saying make sense? Does that make sense about being the face, the CEO of the program, and really trying to be ultra-positive, not just for your fan base? Because I think one thing, I could be wrong, I do think Shane Beamer, more so than Will Muschamp, has his finger on the pulse of the fan base. And I think, and maybe this was part of the interview process, Ray Tanner, Bob Caslin, whomever else on the board of trustees, when they interviewed Beamer, was like, dude, one of the things you've got to do is you've got to come in here and you've got to win the fan base back. You know, you don't just have to recruit good players. You don't just have to coach up the guys we've got here on the roster. You've got to win this fan base back. You know, you've got to do some things to energize the fan base. Hey, Shane, if we hire you, we need you to be part-time sales guy to get people to buy season tickets. We'll reduce some cost and we'll help you, but hey, buddy, you've got to help win the fan base back. And Shane's got a natural charisma, and I'm not saying he's going to be Dabo Swinney. I have no clue. I think that's unrealistic to even ask or think about. But I do think that rah-rah sentimentality, I see it more. Steve Spurrier was Steve Spurrier, right? Steve Spurrier was never going to be the rah-rah guy.
Mm-hmm.
Lou Holtz was, for lack of a better term, kind of a gimmicky coach. Like we saw the motivational speeches and the magic tricks and kind of the whatever, however you'd want to classify him. I don't know if I'd ever say Will Muschamp was the ultra positive guy. Is that fair?
Of course not. No, he's ultra business-like guy. And I don't think it's as much as in the interview process you ask these questions. I think it is more of a fit, a personality fit. I think Shane Beamer's being who he is. Dabo Swinney was being who he is being who he is, and it has just worked. I think Will Muschamp was who he was. It just didn't work. And the fun thing, I think, gets a little overblown because you're not going to have fun when you lose. You're just not. And that is what it is. I mean, you can't if your program is embracing losing football games and everybody's having a bunch of fun. There's a big problem there too. So I think we can over exaggerate that to some point, but I understand what you're saying about Beamer's approach now, and certainly how it's landing with the fan base. I think Will Muschamp earned the reputation for kind of walling himself and his program off from the fan base, and more of a Nick Saban approach. But again, Nick Saban has that reputation. He didn't connect to Alabama's fan base. He wins games, and everybody's happy. And then when you don't win games, it goes the other way. I think we saw that from the Gamecock perspective. Fortunately, you don't just have to hear from me and Bill this morning. You can get a much wiser perspective on things. We go out to the Love Chevy phone lines where our buddy, favorite 86-year-old caller, Gamecock Larry, been waiting patiently to weigh in this morning with words of wisdom to take us into the weekend. Larry, how you feeling on a Friday morning, sir? What did I say? Right. No doubt. That is correct. Total agreement in that opinion. It's right, except if you're going to tell me that that's all she can talk about. Okay.
Oh boy.
No, sir. We love you too, Gamecock Larry. A lot of love this morning on a Friday.
I feel like we got on a roundabout right there, and we couldn't find the exit ramp.
I love it. Glad to hear Gamecock Larry is on the upswing there.
I feel like we took a wrong turn, ended up on a roundabout, wasn't sure how to get off the roundabout. We just kept going in circles there with some topic that I wasn't sure about.
Gamecock Larry, please send me that letter you're talking about. We will frame it. We will cherish it at 107.5 The Game. We cannot follow that, so we will take a break right now. Leave you with a word from Shane Beamer about trying to keep things simple for his football team. Just a few practices in. It's from yesterday's spring practice evaluation after 3 spring practices. Here's Shane Beamer. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Develop guys on the football team physically and instill in them the mentality, physicality that we want to practice with. Let's figure out what our guys can know and get better from a fundamental standpoint. So that means we have to cut back on what we're doing scheme-wise. We're listening to very keep track of mental errors, snap penalties, and things like that. And right now, those are about what we expect for the first game practices. To make sure that we're not doing too much.
Nice work, Jen.
Oh, yeah. Talking about getting excited, not having to think too much. Don't overthink purchasing a car sometimes. Just get excited and head on out to Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. Why? It's easy. It's painless. You don't have to overthink things. At Love Chevrolet, first off, you get the largest selection of brand new vehicles anywhere in the Midlands. The nation's hottest selling truck, the Silverado, you can go find plenty of them over at Love Chevrolet. That's right. Make, model, interior, exterior, whatever you're looking for, they've got it. Maybe you're looking for a Tahoe, they've got those as well. Whatever it is you're looking for in a brand new vehicle, while others are scrambling for inventory, Love Chevrolet fully stocked and ready to take care of you. Graduation season, unbelievably, the last weekend in March. Graduation season is upon us, folks. Can you believe it? Whether it's high school or college, it's right around the corner. Now is the time to either send that graduate off into the real world after college or off to college with a pre-owned vehicle, something that's trustworthy, you can believe in, and you can get that from Love Chevrolet. They just moved over their huge inventory from Love Automotive in KC on Knox Abbott Drive. So the biggest, largest, best dealership in the Midlands just got bigger, better, and badder. I-26 between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. Largest selection, best deals possible. And oh, good grief, don't let me forget to tell you about the sales staff. They're awesome. Gotta go visit them, hang out with them. They actually have freshly baked cookies. That's one of the reasons. They think I'm coming to see them, but I'm actually coming for the massage chair and the freshly baked cookies. But the sales staff will walk you around the lot, make sure you're comfortable with your purchase. And that's important. They'll make sure that when you drive off the lot, you're extremely happy. Don't take my word for it. Go visit Love Chevrolet for yourself this weekend. Get excited. Don't overthink the situation. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads.
Justin, this is a Flying Axe hat. It's given to me by the guys in charge of Flying Axe there. It's mobile axe throwing there out of Lexington. Jason hooked me up with this. And you can go to flyingaxessc.com. Got to put the E there after the axe. Flyingaxessc.com and check out more info there. We were throwing the axes at outside of Lawyer Leases. It's been a year and a half ago, I guess.
Yeah.
John.
Golly, yeah. Was that Clemson weekend? It was the very last one. Wow. Amazing. You know, there was something I was thinking about last night or yesterday, and it might have been a discussion we were having just about how long ago certain things were like that. Doing something for a football game or just crazy. Oh, it was the going to Founders Park yesterday. And somebody was like, you haven't been in 3 years? Well, I said 2, but that's because I didn't go to any of the first 16 games last year. And
Right.
honestly, with the limited attendance, just like this weekend, I don't really plan to go this weekend, or I probably won't go this year. It's not that I'm afraid of being out in crowds. It's just the dealing with the hassle, and it doesn't feel the same. And I can stream the games or listen to them. I probably won't go. And then I'm sure I went in 2019, but it had to be early in the season. So yeah, it's been a long time. I mean, even last year, I only went to 2 football games, and they were just so different with the way we tailgated and how everything was. It's just very strange. And we can get into that. I know we're going to have a short segment, but spring game when we come back.
Yep. Jen, you have to move some more stuff around. Sorry about that.
That's right. So when we come back, you'll have less than a minute. But all right.
Do we still have a caller there?
We do.
Can you tell him that's what we'll have, and we'd love for him to fill about half of it or 45 seconds of it, whatever he can get in?
Yep.
Thank you. So we'll get into that at the top of the 7. I retweeted the info that they put out yesterday about how Gamecock Club members get free tickets, and you're supposed to request yours ahead of time if you're planning on buying tickets.
Oh, let's see. Don't forget the winners.
Yep. Top golf.
Top golf.
And Jen, Brett Kinsey is supposed to call you this morning. I think he was the winner of something and was trying to track it down, something he won on the afternoon show, a sports pack maybe.
Yep.
Okay. He was trying to figure out how to obtain it.
We got it at the studio. I know that. Jen, I think there's just stuff laying around in the studio, I'm guessing somewhere. Some Gamecock towels and other things.
There's some white packages.
That's it.
Might just need to give it to the security guard at the front, because I think he said he'd been by there a few times. I obviously, as everybody can see what we're doing, none of aside from Jen. And Jen surprisingly, Jen doesn't hang out at the studio all day long greeting people. You can't just go by at noon and get an autograph and a picture with Jen.
Yeah, I just had the visual of Jen as soon as we sign off. She changes into her security guard uniform.
Just goes and sits in a chair right at the beginning, right at our entry of our door. People just walk in and like, look, there's the Jen Jensen. And she hops up, puts both arms out, and just snaps pictures with them.
There's lights that beam down, and I've got a recliner,
What are those things? The little carts that security guards in malls have. The little I forget, like Paul Blart. You just pop on one of those.
The Segway, she's just
the Segways.
Thank you.
There are those downtown guys that have those.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
join that squad.
parking meter people. She's just cruising up and down Gervais.
Not too much time here left in hour number 1. Wanted to get right back out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Rick weighing in about coaching in college football and different styles and successes. Go ahead, Rick.
Who else on the team this past fall is an NFL prospect?
Appreciate the phone call, Rick. It is those 5 guys for sure. Our NFL draft expert, Patrick, says 3 to 5 he's expecting to get drafted. We'll talk more about it hour number 2 coming up.
You know all I can envision now, Tim?
What's that?
Jen on her Segway, cruising down Gervais Street. Behind her, motorized scooter, Gamecock Larry.
Racist.
Patrolling the vista, just on the lookout for any bad guys.
And
Wait.
keep him on his toes. I'm tossing treats back every so often for him to grab.
Wait, is he good cop and you're bad cop? I'm confused. Who's good cop and who's bad cop?
I don't know. That's a good point.
The next great buddy cop movie. Can't wait for it.
That'd be interesting. All right, so Bill, do you want to try to cut? I still need to get the.
Hold on, I'm waiting on Josh to send me this short script, just
Okay.
something new,
I'll work on Kingston then.
and
All business this morning.
yeah, hey, Friday. I'm telling you, get the business. It's supposed to rain this afternoon. It does look dark, like
This
rain
morning,
clouds.
when I left the house, it looked like kind of to the north. I was seeing a little bit of lightning, so they're definitely north of us getting stuff that we're not.
Yeah, we're gonna get something, but like I said, they keep the tarp on. It looks like about 6:30, 7 o'clock. It clears out, and it's gonna be a nice night.
I'm sure
All right,
the.
Chris, go have a good weekend. Busy day. That's right, busy day.
I mean, when Patrick leaves here, this thing just goes all business. It's unbelievable.
I know. Gotta make the money, man.
Good thing Justin Scurry and the grounds crew over at Founders Park tunes in, and I'm sure just took plenty of advice from Bill about how to handle the field today.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah, keep that tarp on there. Protect that logo over there in center field, the palmetto tree.
You know the tarp doesn't go over that, right?
See, that's the problem. You're not on the grounds crew. How do you know this?
You're right. They tarp center field. My bad. Thinking Weather Channel. That's your next foray.
Well, that's what we need. I need a blue screen. Am I not able to do here on this? You know, what is it? My no, it doesn't say. It just says I can edit name, edit audio avatar. What that is? Oh, avatar we use when your camera's off. Got it. Yeah, I don't think it's like Zoom where I can have like the fish background or turn into an ostrich or whatever.
Just got a text in from Boudreaux for the first time since he was promoting his January 8th comedy show on January 5th. How could you not encourage Gamecock Larry to continue? You let him ramble about things we knew to be true, then let him stop short of what might surely have been the makings of spectacular radio.
What is Robert talking about? You're not answering your own question?
When was that? That was back a little ways here, huh?
640. More coffee. Coffee time. Coffee time.
Is that a text in from Robert? It was, not the live chat. Sorry. I think, Craig, you're talking about a Facebook thing. I think that's all Facebook's automatically done. What do you call those things? The things that I never quite got in calculus in high school. Brain is dead so far this morning. Really complicated algorithms. There we go. Wow, that was tough. I think that's all in their algorithms. Justin, what do you got? Morning, Justin. Days like this are why I won't miss working baseball in the summer. At least today seems predicted. It's possible that it may dump a good bit. The outfield may take it on the chin, but hopefully, yeah, I think they'll get it in. I mean, that field holds water well. I mean, they do an amazing job, obviously, with how it looks, but also how it drains. And it might, like Bill said earlier, it might be delayed a little bit, but I would be surprised if they don't get tonight in.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But the numbers for Florida's starter, I just looked up. Tommy Mace is his name. 42 strikeouts this year, 4 walks.
Well, but that's what you get. It's Friday night. I mean, top 5 team. And it's the SEC, and you got everybody coming back. Well, there was 5 rounds. You knew you were going to get a lot of really good players coming back. South Carolina's got good players coming back. I mean, it's just South Carolina wasn't the only one with a loaded roster.
No doubt. So you're talking about Robert. Let me go back to his text.
He just said you asked it. So is it bad for Beamer to act like that? You're not answering your own question. I thought we did answer. I did. I said that.
I never heard a question there. I just heard that was the take, and that's where Gamecock football is.
So Tim, it's tonight streamed on SEC Network Plus. Does that mean we get a Tim Hill?
No, was not. I'm apparently not big time enough for Florida Carolina tonight.
Oh no.
That's just wrong.
No, I'm definitely not.
I got it. Well, I could be wrong. I feel like Tim needs a day off. He's had. I think what you got the 8 and the 6-year-old. Is that right? That means there's 2 baseball games a week. Chasing around almost a year-old now. He was up till 1:30 one morning. I feel like if anybody needs a nice, relaxing Friday evening with the boys and hanging out, it's the guy in the upper left-hand corner.
You clearly don't know my boys if you think it's going to be a nice, relaxing evening.
Hey, get him out. Well, I don't. Depending on get him outside, man. Get the grill going.
We played baseball with a cousin and another friend yesterday, and then they played a little football, and I was done with them. The 8-year-old was arguing. He was arguing every call I made every time I called him out, and then he wanted to play 1-on-3 football against the other little dudes.
That's when you got to start just teaching them to run laps or do push-ups. Every time they argue a call, you just sprint to the fence and back. Just sprint. You don't argue the call.
That's where I was yesterday. Glad you got Kingston on his ejection here. That's where I wanted. That's where I was. I was like, argue again. We're done. You're out.
All right, hold on. I got to listen. I'm going to mute my. Are we coming back? Okay, I got to. Jen, I was going to try to mute my mic real quick. Let's see if I actually do this for just a minute here.
Match play golf with the defending champ Kevin Kisner, South Carolina native, knocking off Justin Thomas yesterday. Dustin Johnson surviving to get to the weekend, or to get to Friday anyway, in that World Golf Championship match play event. That's going on down in Texas, as well as Gamecock women's basketball back in the Sweet 16 for the 7th straight time. Sunday, 1 o'clock, Georgia Tech. And the men's side gets going tomorrow. That schedule, the first game is a 12-8 matchup at 2:40 tomorrow. Oregon State and Loyola. Then you get Villanova and Baylor in the 5:15 game. Oral Roberts and Arkansas at 7:25, and Syracuse, Houston, the late game tomorrow night. That's the Saturday schedule. While all this is going on, you got Gamecock baseball getting underway in its second SEC series. First one at home, Florida. 7 o'clock first pitch set for tonight, 6:45 airtime. Dealing with a little bit of weather, but we'll try to get through it. And then with all of that being said, spring practice continues to roll on for Gamecock football. 3 practices in. Shane Beamer speaking publicly about spring practice for the first time yesterday, and we'll get into plenty of his comments as we roll on. A little evaluation for Carolina Panthers head coach Matt Rule. He was in town for the pro day the other day, and that's where we start hour number 2 this morning, along with the announcement yesterday, Bill, that fans will be allowed at Williams-Brice Stadium for the spring game this year. 9,000 is what they're kind of projecting with the social distancing implications and all the COVID protocols going in. What did you think about the news from yesterday about opening things up? This kind of goes hand in hand, I feel like, with where you were going with one of your gas baggy hot takes in hour number 1 about where we were this time last year with everything completely shut down, and how much you're appreciating this weekend specifically with actual sports going on and plenty of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's more complicated. I did get agitated with people yesterday on social media or the internet that want to blame Ray Tanner for this. I think that there's so many other things that go into how the crowd size for the spring game. I'm like everybody else. And there was a commercial on last night, and I don't even remember what exactly it was promoting, because it was showing all kinds of different sports. It was I saw some NASCAR racers, I saw NBA, I saw NFL, I saw NHL. It promoted all sports. And it said the vaccine is here. Don't worry, we'll be back to normal very, very soon, and we look forward to seeing you back. And so again, I don't know if it was just I don't know what exactly at the end it was promoting in terms of just sports being back. But I say that because the spring game's a month away. People are getting their vaccines. That feels like a conversation. It's an odd conversation to have. More and more these days, hey, you get your vaccine? How you feel after you got your vaccine? Did you have any side effects? No, you didn't have. Oh, okay. Which kind of vaccine did you get? And I say that because we're still moving in that right direction, but you still need to take some precautions. And one of them is when you talk about opening the stadium and you had whatever it was attendance-wise, I forget the actual number, 16,000. I think, Tim, is what we had, 17,000 for the season tickets. You were still putting people in the upper deck to socially distance and to do the pods and do everything. Well, obviously, I don't think I've ever seen, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe Spurrier's first year, maybe, did people go sit in the upper deck for the spring game?
Nope. No upper decks.
Yeah, okay, so never. So, to do what we're talking about trying to do, if you want to really open up, you've got to open up the upper deck, and then you've got to hire more security personnel, and you've got to do some things. I'm okay with it. I will say this, being the recruiting nerd that you like to refer to me as, and understanding the importance of recruits in a spring game, yes, if it was a recruiting period and you can have kids on your campus that day to showcase the fans and showcase certain things, knowing the importance, especially for Shane Beamer, trying to get kids locked in and trying to build this program, yes, then I would say, look, you've got to maybe find a way to be a little bit more lenient, to maybe bring in the extra personnel to handle a larger crowd, to open the upper deck, to do whatever it is that's necessary that we got to do to get people in, because you have to help the coaching staff. In this situation, I don't know if it matters to me how many fans are there. I am with a lot of people. If you just want to get out on what should be April 24th, I believe,
yep,
an incredible spring day, to go and enjoy some football, to enjoy the Shane Beamer era. But I also understand that precautions need to be put in place just a little bit longer, and then we're going to be completely back to normal, and you'll have 100% capacity when it matters most. I think we're going to have 100% capacity when it matters most, and that's on September 4th.
So I'm a little confused. What were you seeing on the social media? Just the usual complaining and belly?
Yeah, just usual whining, complaining that that basically that Ray Tanner and the administration does nothing to help the football program.
Gotcha. Did you see what I retweeted yesterday? I think it was during the show. There's a video of a couple of dogs barking at each other. There's a gate in the middle of it.
And the gate, I've seen that. I didn't see yours,
amazing.
but then the gate opens and they stare at each other like, oh, wait.
Yeah, they absolutely shut up. And this is not something I came up with. I just retweeted this thing that it was people in real life versus people online. And that's what it is, man. That's all it is. You got to let that go, Bill. Got to let it slide right off your back. I hear you. But that's just, I think, it's a bit of human nature. But 9,000, I think, is a solid number for a spring game if you get that many people out there. Again, I think what we've seen up until this point is that even in limited attendance, you're not getting 100% of what the limited capacity has been in a lot of events. I don't know if you'll get 9,000 at the spring game. That's nice that you're forecasting a beautiful spring day on April 24th, but having gone to a bunch of spring games, that is not always how it works out, sir. there have
Well,
been
this is the
some
latest spring game.
messes.
Latest spring game I can remember. As a matter of fact, just let's all cross fingers. But based on the way it was yesterday, hopefully a Hovland-less spring game. But 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess if you count, how do you guys do that? Do you count tomorrow as one? If so, 5 Saturdays. 5 Saturdays from tomorrow is the spring game.
I go with the solid month. A month from now, they'll practice basically for the next month, and then April 24th, 2 p.m. is kickoff time. And again, some of the details there that USC put out yesterday about how much it costs. It's going to be $5 for non-Gamecock Club members. If you're a Gamecock Club member, you get in for free, but they do ask that you go ahead and kind of reserve your spot. I guess they're going to have the spots in the stadium where you sit and kind of your pods. They're going to have some green signs or green notifications there about here's where you sit, and that's how it'll work out. I don't understand. What did people want? Did they want just unlimited access to this thing? You can't do that this time at this point. I think we're working towards that, but that's just not how you handle things moving forward as we sit here on March 25th, March 26th, 2021. I think just the fact that you get the positive news that there are plans for fans in the stands for the spring game. If you can rewind at all to where we were this time last year and no spring practice at all, much less a spring game. I guess South Carolina maybe one of the few programs that did have a few practices get in early on until everything was shut down. But moving in the right direction is what I'm trying to say in a long-winded way. I will shut that down right now and actually let you hear from Shea Beamer some of what he had to say yesterday as we head to our first break here in hour number 2, talking about what he's seen so far from his coaching staff and his players. Just 3 spring practices in. We'll continue to discuss that. Let you hear a little bit from Carolina head baseball coach Mark Kingston, a little bit more about his ejection in that Vanderbilt game in the series finale last week ahead of this week's big series at home against Florida. You're listening to the early game here on 107.5 The Game.
Yeah, I think we're on the right track. New staff, new schemes on offense, defense, and special teams.
Nice work, Jen.
Learning curve, and some growing pains and things like that. And I really think us.
Let me know if you're looking for something else.
3 practices in.
No, I think we'll be good there, those 2.
Give us a chance as an offense, defense, and special team staffs to kind of figure out really what we want to emphasize here. To the rest of spring practice.
Your 24/7 sports station.
Looking for you for something new. How about that? Weighing in from LaGuardia.
I saw that.
Attaboy, James. All right, we'll see if you got the early long distance listener award this morning, sir. We'll see if anybody can challenge that. Got one from Costa Rica the other day, or Puerto Rico, something like that. That was on the regular text line. This might be the Facebook Live award for long distance. Congratulations. Oh boy, long text message in about Don Staley being a beacon of light.
Okay.
That was with Gamecock Larry cutting himself off from any kind of controversial deal. Oh yeah, and Bill, have you seen the John Boy thing about Mark Kingston?
I didn't watch that. I heard about it. I
retweeted it.
It popped up a little bit yesterday, but I didn't see it.
If you guys haven't seen it, you can go on my Twitter and find it. 107.5 The Game. I mean, Tim Hill 107.5. Pretty hilarious. It's not necessarily informative, but it's pretty funny just to get the complete outsider's perspective on it.
I'll have to go back and watch it today.
I appreciate the sarcastic delivery.
I liked it. That one he did with the Mississippi State coach or whatever. That was pretty funny.
Oh, I don't think I saw that one.
Not Mississippi State coach, the pitcher. No, Tulane pitcher against Mississippi State a few weeks ago.
I didn't see it. What was it about?
Where the Tulane pitcher kept rubbing like the inside of the palm of his glove, and he was just throwing some nasty stuff, just whipping it. So the Mississippi State coaches sent the umpire out, and literally it was the laziest job of looking at a glove. They held the glove and like turned it around, looked at it, like rubbed the outside of the glove, and he's talking about it, and then handed it back. And literally the Tulane pitcher put it back on, looked over at the Mississippi State dugout, and rubbed the area that he had been rubbing all game, and then promptly whipped the guy.
So I guess that's kind of what that is, just entertaining, huh? I love it. Yeah, because I guess the one part he took from the audio that you can hear on the field is outside, is what the umpire was, I guess, a little sensitive about, the balls and strikes that you can't argue. And so Mark Kingston was talking about the report that he was writing down, the umpire. It was pretty hilarious, actually. Classic umpire manager interaction.
I don't know if you want to get into somebody else's report we did a few weeks ago, but there was a sports talk report last night that Bob Ritchie will be one of the top candidates for South Carolina if Martin is fired.
I think you said that plenty of times on this show. I know.
I was going to say I've been ahead of that, so we need to go back down that path. Because again, Whittle put something out. He thinks there could be something today. Now, what is it? What are we on? Like day 12, day 11 of Martin Watch. We kind of moved on from it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Anchorman scene with Paul Rudd. I'm here on day 11 of Panda Watch. What do you say? Get out here and have the baby. Stupid panda.
Old-timey clip of the day.
Oh, what is it?
Mickey Mantle.
That's an old-timey clip. That qualifies for old-timey.
Did you say old Tommy?
That also could be. That's actually what it should be. The old-timey clip of the day, sponsored by Old Timey Meat Market.
He would love that.
That's actually what it should be.
He's still quite young and young at heart.
Chin, do I need to set up this Kingston clip, or are we good to run it straight in?
I think straight in's okay.
Let's do it.
All right.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. It's the Herndon Chevy Studo.
That's how it's labeled there.
Yeah.
Sided with them, not with an umpire. As respectful as I have to be as a umpire to subject them for a player, it's not enough with them. And I wanted them to know that I did that. And I let them know, not in the middle of the game, maybe a couple of minutes before I ended up getting run. They need to not complain to the umpire that I would be here, and I would take care of it. And if anybody gets picked out, it'll be me. You guys need to game.
Carolina head coach Mark Kingston. That's a good agreement you make with the players in the dugout. All right, here's the deal. If I get kicked out, you win the game. Deal? Done. I think every big-time college baseball coach would do that, especially with the rule that college baseball coaches, the head coach doesn't have to sit out the next game. An assistant or a player does. I think you get the automatic suspension for one more game if you're a player or an assistant coach, but the head coach gets to come right back. And especially the timing of that thing, you only missed the last 2 minutes. And if you haven't seen this John Boy breakdown on the internet, I've retweeted it pretty fun, pretty entertaining if you have a sense of humor about it. Not necessarily 100% accurate, I don't think, in the breakdown, but that's part of the entertainment value. The fact that Mark Kingston was on his way out and then had to come back and grab his backpack, get his bag, and then go out. They had to stop the game a little bit before he exits the premises, which is one of the dumbest things in baseball, right? And there was the weakest ejection you'll ever see from an umpire. It was more like a point, like, hey, you got to go over there, as opposed to at least ring them up, man. You haven't make some kind of show out of it. This is partly entertainment. It was an interesting deal. That was from Carolina Calls last night, by the way, with Mark Kingston ahead of this weekend's Florida series. It's going to be another challenge. Like, we're going to say this every single Friday for the next 6-8 weeks, whatever it is. I guess there are 8 more SEC series in the 30-game regular season for the Gamecocks. After this one, you're starting at the top. It's not like you're working your way down, though, with the SEC having the top 5 ranked teams in the D1Baseball.com poll. And Arkansas, Mississippi State, Ole Miss still left on the schedule, so there's still plenty of top-notch pitching staffs you're going to see. But Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter lead the way in the country, and you saw that last weekend. But Florida's not far behind, man. Tommy Mace is the guy going for Florida tonight. 42 strikeouts this year, 4 walks. He's 4-0 with a 2.10 ERA. And by the way, Thomas Farr's ERA is 2.15 for the Gamecocks, so nothing to be discouraged by. Certainly, Farr is. I mean, you saw it last week. He matched Rocker. It was a one-run game, and unfortunately for the Gamecocks, they came up just a little bit short. But they're the first ones to actually get some earned runs on Rocker this season. And Farr, from a strikeout to walk perspective, 39-10, so still pretty good, almost a 4-to-1 ratio there. Brandon Jordan is at a 3.52 ERA. He's got 38 strikeouts to 16 walks. He'll be taking on Jack Leftwich, a righty for Florida in the Saturday matchup, who is also a 4-0 record along with Mace. His ERA even better at 1.71, 29 strikeouts and 9 walks. And then Hunter Barco is the Sunday guy who actually has a bit of an inflated ERA at over 5. His strikeout to walk ratio, though, still really good at 38-6. And he's got a 3-1 record. He's the only lefty slated to get a start this weekend. Typically, it would be Julian Bosnick, or it has been the lefty to get the start for the Gamecocks on Sunday. But this weekend, they're going to be announced and might throw him a little earlier on in the series. Could speculation that it might be Brett Carey with the way that he's throwing. He went extended innings that Sunday win for the Gamecocks against Vandy. So a really interesting setup going into this weekend, Bill. I don't think we've quite seen the disparity, right? You get a seasons of highs and lows and mountains and valleys, I think is how Ray Tanner used to put it. You get that in baseball to some degree with every team. But to start out 11-0 and then to lose the next 6 and now to have bounced back and win the last 2, I don't think we've quite seen it to this drastic of a range for Gamecock baseball in recent memory, at least not that I can think of off the top of my head here.
Well, that's the answer. You can't think of it off the top of your head. I mean, how many baseball seasons do you really remember that kind of how the season played out? I was going to see if I could go back and pull the records from the last 10 years or so, because I feel like this has happened. I feel like this is part of baseball. I feel like it's part of baseball. You have, as you just said with Ray Tanner, you have ups and downs, mountains and valleys. You rise and fall. The key is to win more than you lose and win some big series, and that's where South Carolina's at. They sit right now 13-6. What are they at, 25? What do we use, D1 baseball? I feel like we need to have a go-to poll. I feel like that we
okay,
can.
Let's make it that one. D1Baseball.com. Yep, number 25 dropped 9 spots after losing 2 out of 3 to Vandy.
So they're ranked, and again, the overall big picture is trying to host a regional. That's what you're working on to try and get to that area. I'm just kind of glancing very quickly here. South Carolina baseball back in 2010. 2010, Tim, opens up incredible. Let's see here. Let's just very quickly try and do this as fast as we can. They opened up with VMI 1-3, took 3 from Elon, beat Presbyterian. That's 7. opened up with two straight wins against Clemson before losing, so they were 9-1. Beat Asheville, beat Princeton, they won 4 straight, so 13-1, 14-1 Charleston Southern, 15-1 App State. But then, so they were 15-1, but then proceeded to lose 5 of their next 7. Not the losing streak that you're kind of referencing. Actually, lose 6 of their next 8. So you're 13-1, and then you promptly lose 6 of your next 8. They were swept by Kentucky. They beat Furman, lost to Wofford, and then lost 2 of 3 to Florida. You see how that kind of works? Like you lose those games, 6 of your next 8 after being 13-1. I feel like this is part of baseball, but I also think getting back into the positive side of the momentum is what makes this weekend as important, maybe more important than some other weekends. Because, like you said, is it fair to say the team's teetering? That it could go, they could win 2 or 3. You feel like the way they won the Vanderbilt game, the way they won the Citadel game, if you win 2 or 3, you go, okay, team's got the momentum again. They're really rolling. They're really doing some big things. Here we go. Or they can lose 2 or 3, and you're sitting there in conference play at 2 and 4 and fighting an uphill battle, given that you know that the rest of the schedule is still very difficult.
Help me out with what season you were going through again with Gamecock baseball. I think you had said.
2010.
I thought you had said
2010.
No, it's not 2010. Check that out again.
Excuse me, 2012. 2012.
There we go. Yeah, they got off to that 1-5 start in SEC play. In 2010, it was losing the second and third series of the season. It was at East Carolina and then Clemson. So it was a disappointing start there, and then they ran off a bunch of games in a row and really got rolling as SEC play began. So a different arc there. But to your point, both those years they ended up playing for the national championship, and they won it obviously in 2010 and lost out to Arizona in 2012, even after that 1-5 start in SEC play. So a couple of examples. You know, the best example of just rolling through is obviously 2000 when they go 50-6, and I think they had a couple of 20-game win streaks in that season, 20-plus games.
And let's go back real quick because I feel like at the time they only had 16 losses, so maybe my memory really escapes me here. But let's go back to the 2010 season here and just glance going into the SEC tournament. South Carolina had lost 4 or 5. It's not going to the SEC, going into the NCAA tournament. South Carolina had lost 4 or 5 games. They had lost 2 or 3 to Florida. They had lost in the SEC tournament to Mississippi 3-0 and to Auburn 3-1. They lost 4 or 5 games and then started that incredible run. Bucknell, Citadel, Virginia Tech, the Coastal Carolina win, Coastal Carolina Super Regional Series sweep. They lose 1 to Oklahoma and don't lose again. So they had finished that season in the postseason. They lost 4 or 5 going into postseason play and then start the incredible run where they pick up, as I just glanced, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row, lose to Oklahoma to start the College World Series, and then rattle off 6 straight wins. So basically lose 4 or 5 to end the season, finish the season 11-1. I think and to me, that's baseball, right? We had the texter the other day that called us, said we weren't very knowledgeable, but that to me, that is part of baseball. You summed it up, or Ray Tanner summed it up perfectly, and you put the words highs, lows, mountains, valleys. You're going to have you're going to have a week or 2 where the ball doesn't go your way. You run into some hot pitching. And then good teams with good players have the opposite, where they go on a run for 2 or 3 weeks, where maybe they go 9-3 or 10-2 and get really hot and win a bunch of games in a row. So we'll see if South Carolina gets it going the opposite direction now.
Kick off the second half of the program when we come back here, 803-404-6100. We see you on the Love Chevy phone lines. You can also text that same number. Up and rolling on the live video stream, sponsored by Beaufort Lending, Facebook, YouTube Live, also on Twitter at 1075 The Game, the station handle there. It's the early game here on 1075 The Game. What is Craig talking about here? Feel the same as what? about baseball as women's basketball.
Steven on the live stream saying he is starting a vacation today. For me, it's going to be a big sports weekend, but a lot of it starts tomorrow. You got baseball tonight, but basketball tomorrow. You've got spring football. You know what else you got on Sunday? You got dirt racing in Bristol. I've got to get a great night of sleep. Really, I get a great night of sleep each and every night. That's why I make incredible NASCAR picks. That's why I'm once again dominating the NASCAR section. Not just because of the work I put in, because of the research, but because I get a fantastic night of sleep each and every night. I have these dreams about who's going to win the race this week. Christopher Bell. You heard me talk about that yesterday. It's all because of a Sleep Number bet. I put that setting on 60. Get a proven quality night of sleep. Helps me pick the NASCAR races. Helps me wake up rested, refreshed, ready to go each and every morning. Helps me have a great weekend. You need to do the same because I'm telling you, proven quality sleep is life-changing sleep. Introducing the new Sleep Number 360 C4 Smart Bed. The Queen Bed right now, $1,499 plus special financing, but it ends Monday. Don't miss a great opportunity. 2 stores to go to. One in Irmo on Harbison Boulevard across from Buffalo Wild Wings. The other in Columbia, 2 Notch Road across from Sand Hills Mall. You can visit them on the web, sleepnumber.com. Of course, this is all subject credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See sleepnumber.com for details. I'm telling you what, because of a Sleep Number bed, I'm a NASCAR guru. I'm a thrill to be around. People love me in the morning because I wake up rested, refreshed, ready to go. You should be more like me is really what you should be thinking this morning. Kids, as you're heading to school, think that Bill Gunner that my parents make me listen to, I need a great night of sleep to be like that guy. If you're going to do it, the first thing you got to do is make the switch. Make the switch to Sleep Number today and find out what a great night of sleep is truly like. I feel like when I do a Sleep Number bed like that and I take a few pot shots at Jen and she has to do a traffic report or a weather report and be professional, it's very difficult. It's extremely difficult for her to go in and do a professional traffic report where she's not calling me a pork chop or some other kind of nickname or –
I feel like somebody put out a message to send us supportive messages for Dawn Staley.
Yeah, what happened? Did Dawn do something last night in Texas that's about to come out, and we're getting out in front of the situation?
No, I feel like this is a Gamecock Larry effect.
I didn't feel like he was going down a good path on that.
Well, anytime he cuts himself off, you know it's not headed down a good path.
Got the old text from the father, says the weather up the lake in Prosperity, very bad, heading this way. So we may get some, it's sand racing, dirt, sand. What's the difference between sand and dirt? I'm going to need a definition here. What is the difference between sand? Is dirt just, is it
a little clay involved in dirt and not in sand?
Is that the true definition?
I'm not a soilologist. I don't know. Jim would like to weigh in on this, though.
What is the difference between sand and dirt?
Well, consistency for one thing.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
What do you mean, is it?
I mean,
I'm asking.
Literally, sand is more granular, you know? Dirt is made up of more rock and, I mean, it's clean dirt, but...
So what do they put on a baseball field?
Depends.
Dirt.
Down here, I've seen some sand, too, but, like, up north, it's black dirt. Here, it's clay.
On the baseball field? So it's dirt on a baseball field and sand on the beach? Is that what it is?
I think
Yes.
Depending on where it is, but yeah, I would think so.
Do you really think there's dirt at the beach? And sand on a baseball field?
I mean, as Courtney says, sand is at the beach, dirt is in Columbia. What do I have? I'll have to go out. We tried to level some ground out here in front of my place. Sand is in a bunker. I don't know. Dirt darker and heavier, sand more whitish. See, I feel like we're just basing it on the beach versus. I mean, I don't know. I'm asking.
There is sand that they might use to fill. Like, I guarantee you there was sand on a baseball field. One time I played in a media league, played, softball, and man, did a slide one time and it tore my legs up. There was definitely sand on that field. But
all right. Why is sand? This is from JurassicSand.com, and it's got a picture of Linus from the Charlie Brown show or whatever.
About 30 seconds.
Dirt is unclean matter when in contact with a person's clothes, skin, or possessions. Dust, it's listed as dust, filth, grime, and soil.
Dirt just needs better PR. So that's
Exactly.
a bad PR person for dirt.
Sand drains better. So, I mean, sometimes you'll mix in. You also can mix in.
Sand is not dirt or made from dirt. Many people assume sand is dirt. I'm one of many people. Count me in. And the geologist in me begs to differ. The confusion stems from the fact that basic ingredients of dirt are clay, silt, loam. Never heard of that.
We're going back in. Yeah.
Still got a caller, Ernest? Is that right?
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt, Doctor.
All right.
All right, guys are up.
Rock Doctor Bill Gunter in the live video stream doing a dissertation about sand versus dirt. Well, a dissertation would imply actual research as opposed to just throwing out a question and then reading some stuff off the internet. Is that where we're at?
It's a lot of back and forth. I learned a lot right there. The difference between sand and dirt. That's got to be our off-topic conversation today. One day we did bananas. Yesterday was chairs. A good old-fashioned sand versus dirt conversation should probably be had.
Yeah, we'll set one of those days up for June.
Sounds good.
Maybe July if we need to. Not right now. Too much going on. Ernest knows that. We're out to the Love Chevy phone lines to talk to Ernest this morning, talking about Carolina baseball, the ups and downs in that last segment that got Ernest thinking. What do you think, Ernest? Attaboy, Ernest. Fired up. I'm a little confused to your point, though. You remember, sounds like you're a big Gamecock fan. So I remember back to that 2010 season, and those guys hadn't made their reputations yet. Matt Price and Jackie Bradley Jr. And so to me, I feel like from that perspective, this team is pretty similar because look at the numbers going into this weekend. The Gamecocks are leading the country from a pitching staff perspective, strikeouts per 9 innings. Wes Clark leading the country in home runs. Ernest fired up this morning. Appreciate the phone call. He's up to, 11 right now through 19 games, I think it is. That's the thing. You're probably not going to keep on pace going through this SEC gauntlet that still remains. I mean, Florida, it's not over after Vandy and Florida. You still got 3 other top 5 teams that are ranked right now that are still on the schedule. And to me, it comes down Wes Clark's production moving forward. I feel like we know what he is, and to get to Justin Smoke's record is going to be really difficult, by the way, and I don't think the math works out there. But it's those other guys around him. Andrew Eister really struggling right now, and Mark Kingston asked about his approach with Eister moving forward, if he's going to be patient and kind of let him figure it out, if he's earned enough at this point in his career to to take that approach, or if he's thinking about giving him a day off soon. And I think Mark Kingston taking the correct approach there with a veteran guy who is really proven. And Andrew Eister says, yeah, he's going to let him figure it out, man. He's a good enough hitter. He's already proven it. You get back-to-back walk-off winners against Clemson this season. I think that earns you a lot of cachet, and I think Mark Kingston using the bank account analogy there with he's already put in a big deposit there, and so he's earned that leash. But back to Ernest's point, I don't know if this team has what that 2010 team did. Like, again, Bill, when you were going back and going through those seasons, it's a bit unfair, I feel like, to say that that's baseball. That has been Gamecock baseball, but that has been very few college baseball programs out there where they get on the national championship run. So it's probably an unfair standard to compare to those teams, but that's what Gamecock baseball is, right? You're a national championship winning program, so that's what the standard is going to be. And to say that this year's team and the collection of talent will ever match up to that 2010 to 2012 run, which is clearly the best in Gamecock baseball, might be a little bit unfair. But all I'm saying, as we sit here today, we just don't know. We definitely didn't know in 2010 that that's what was going to happen, and then those players were going to go on to have the tremendous, not just college careers, but pro careers after that.
To me, it's just revisionist history. At the time, we knew that was a good team. Nobody questioned whether that was a top 10 or top 15 team.
No, stop right there, Bill. Ray Tanner questioned that season. When you lose 2 out of your first 3 series, he mentioned it later. He said he thought his NCAA tournament run might come to an end that year.
Well, but my point is, at the time, we didn't know, and I'm going to use another analogy in a second, we didn't know that was a particularly good team. And then, obviously, 10 years later, we now look at the careers of Christian Walker, of Jackie Bradley Jr., the guys who went on to the majors, Michael Roth, who obviously went on to have good careers post South Carolina. You're like, man, that collection of talent was ridiculous, right? Like, oh, man. But at the time, we didn't appreciate it. Now, fast forward and go to football. What was the narrative when Will Muschamp took over at South Carolina? Oh, man, Steve Spurrier didn't recruit. Steve Spurrier didn't lead Will Muschamp a whole lot. Well, I mean, it ended up, that secondary that he got left, DJ Smith, Chris Lamons, who am I leaving out there in the backfield there? Rashad Fenton. They all ended up being pretty doggone good defensive backs. That was part of that. It was that defensive secondary that was the best one Will Muschamp had. And then he recruited his own guys, and, well, we saw what happened. You know, you looked around, you said, you know, left him some pretty good players. I know that the final year of Steve Spurrier's tenure, at times it didn't look like it, but you kind of go, hey, you know, Will Muschamp's, there's people that were making the argument, Will Muschamp's best seasons came with Steve Spurrier's players. And you look back, and I think that's the part about you know, kind of going back and viewing history. To the caller's point, he's right. As of now, yeah, the team doesn't look like it has any of the studs that it had back in 2010 or 2011 or even 2012. But that's because we're living in it now. What happens, again, if Wes Clark continues to have the season that he does and goes on to do great things in the minor leagues and hopefully gets to the majors? Or, you know, if you look at Taylor Farr and you look at some of these pitchers and they go on to have these incredible careers. To me, it's just one of those things where as we're living it, we don't appreciate it for what it is. And it's only years later we look back and go, wow, that team, that was something else. That was really, really something else. I feel like the Final Four team for Frank Martin, as it was happening, again, we didn't appreciate it. We appreciated the run. The run was really cool. The players on that team, now you got people going, man, give anything to have a Sedarius Thornwell back. Man, that Chris Silva, boy, that Mike Kotsar, would love to have a Mike Kotsar back. At the time, we were like, that's a nice collection of TF players. They were still a 7 seed. I think it's one of those things with revisionist history where we look back and then you start thinking, man, those teams, wow, they were something else. We'll see if this team develops into that, and this baseball team develops into that.
Well, that's what the SEC season will show us. And I understand fans who overreacted with the Texas and Vandy series, losing 5 straight, and then the midweek loss to Davidson in there, so losing 6 straight total. But the bounce back Sunday against Vandy to avoid the sweep, a bit of positive news. We'll see what happens and if you can get positive news out of this Florida series coming up. So I agreed with the spirit of that gas baggy hot take. Some of the details there and there, Bill, blew my mind. And apologies to Tyler/Thomas Farr.
Thomas Farr, I'm sorry. Is Taylor Farr a country singer? Is Taylor Farr? I feel like Taylor Farr is.
I heard Tyler the first time. We got all kinds of Farrs.
I said Taylor. I'm sorry. You even misheard me. I definitely said. Yeah, Taylor Farr is a country music singer. I'm sorry. I said Taylor Farr. Or Tyler. I think I said Taylor, and it's Tyler Farr. I think I said. I don't know what I said. I either said. I thought I said Taylor. I thought I said Taylor Farr, but maybe I said Tyler Farr. Tyler Farr is a country music singer. I'm sorry. He sings "A Guy Walks Into a Bar." And I've heard that one. That was a good one.
We'll let it go. Sounds like Bill's going to be hard on himself there. One text message in the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, Hot Sauce Ross, was Ernest mad or excited? I'm confused. I was a little confused about that as well. It was fun, though, just like Taylor, Tyler, and Thomas Farr. It's the early game here.
Either way, that's a great country. So it's a great country music singer name. He's got a career after baseball. If he's a decent singer at all.
I think we can go to commercial now.
Now would be a good time.
Details. It's not all in the details on this show. It's the opposite. It's the spirit of the show you need to get into. Just like, fortunately, around my house, I'm in the spirit of keeping it clean and trying to have control. The details sometimes get in the way, especially with the 3 kids these days. Fortunately, we've got professional help around our house. Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning has come out to our house a couple of times and done a great job cleaning up my carpets. They've cleaned an area rug for me. They freshened up the tiles in both the kitchen and the bathroom. And the way that Zero Res does it is especially important to us at my house because we have especially the near 1-year-old right now waddling around, always on the floor. Yesterday it was a bonk in the head, the banister on the stairs. Fortunately, it wasn't the corner of the banister, so he got over it pretty quickly. Just an example of that guy going down on our floors and getting banged up here recently. Zero Res has cleaned the floors, and they've done it in their own patented powered water system way. No harsh chemicals involved in that process, and no leftover soapy residue. That's why my carpets have stayed cleaner longer. Yours can as well in your home or at your business. That commercial cleaning division working day and night. Businesses all over the Midlands right now, cleaning and sanitizing, following all those CDC guidelines, and they've got a great deal for you right now as well. 3 rooms of carpet cleaned, only $119 when you mention me, Tim Hill. And you'll get a free hallway. 803-262-4020 is the number. Give Zero Res a shout. Check them out online, ZeroResColumbia.com. It's Zero Res. Spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
Oh, tell Jonathan Frew on the live stream who had that report much earlier.
It's not really much of a report. It's hey, keep an eye on this guy.
What radio show host said Bob Ritchie first?
Don't be that guy.
I'm gonna be that guy. It's Friday morning.
That guy.
You know what I might have done? A little bit of coffee creamer in the coffee. Went with Kona coffee this morning with creamer. A little hazelnut creamer.
Thanks, John. I'll relay that to the wife. Travis, yep. Bill mentioned that a little earlier today. All right, looks like Jen's getting an earful. Morning, Hope. That would be a nice Friday bump. Let's see if anyone's in a good mood out there online to subscribe. I'll put it out over the air. We'll see if we can get a YouTube subscriber bump this morning. That'll be nice for Patrick to come back to on Monday. Oh, it's hilarious what people identify with. I think the halftime show asked about the best hot sauce yesterday. Tiger Bob is a little slow apparently on the trigger. He answered at 4:09 during Heath's show, and now he's coming in on the text line at 7:50. One more hot sauce. Iguana Joe's from Aruba. I think maybe he just wanted to brag he's going to Aruba in September to get some more. You're going there to get more hot sauce? That's a heck of a place in life to be. Got a couple of
Do you hear somebody's in Aruba?
Yep, somebody's going to Aruba to make sure they get their iguana hot sauce. That was the conversation on the halftime show, I think.
Okay. Happy Friday, Hope. Good morning, Retrick. Retrick? Is it Retrick or Retrick?
I'm guessing it's Retrick.
No, this guy's going. He's going in September. Why would you go during football season?
Attaboy, Craig. Best toothpicks available down in Belize, no doubt. Everybody knows that.
High quality wood. I know I'm going to jinx this, but does anybody else feel like this show is just flying by?
in.
I'm with you. It's a good thing. You sound sad.
Well, I guess I have other stuff to do today. I'm hoping. I will say. I hope we get a good hard rain. I bet everybody's kind of pulling for this. Early hard rain to wash the pollen off those seats if you're going to Founders Park tonight. Take a little towel, clean it off, but get the pollen out of here.
You guys are up.
So I feel like I could be that guy that says, you know what? Gamecock fans' opinions right now is a great example of the divided world we live in, and just harp on the differences. But I'm going to go the other way, Bill. I appreciate waking up every morning and getting the vast array of opinions. It's part of the great part of our country. We can all see the same things, and take away completely different things. For instance, we have 3 texts in right now on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line as we near the end of hour number 2. It is a great cross-section of America, or just Gamecock fans talking about Gamecock baseball. Steve-O starts us, Bill, with fans seem to have a shocking inability to relate outcomes on the field to the level of competition. The years where we were so successful, we were and had been at the top of the SEC. We're still rebuilding right now. The SEC is stronger than it's ever been. We're playing competitive games against great competition. I'm thrilled with our team right now, Steve-O says. A guy we have just dubbed Angry Listener Guy on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, as you might imagine, doesn't see things quite so sunny. This team is not going to the College World Series. South Carolina Athletics is not going to do anything until Ray Tanner is gone, except for the women's basketball program. I guess he also forgets the men's basketball program going to the Final Four, or casually overlooks that. And then one more take on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Skewing back positive. Fans just need to pump the brakes on this year's baseball team. Take a look at the last 6 games or so. A base hit away from winning 1 game at Texas, possibly winning the series at Mandy. Let's just enjoy that we have baseball this year. How about that to end sunny? Bill's throwing his hands up.
I tried to tell you yesterday, we sweep the series. We come in here on Monday morning partying. We get the brooms out. I think it's possible. Not likely, but I think it's possible. Look, I
Yeah,
think
just
it's gonna
don't come
be-
in crying if
think
it
it's gonna
goes
be
the
a good
other way.
series.
That's all I'm saying.
Good
Oh,
series.
man. Hour 3 coming up. So it looks like Bill had it right. I read that as Ray Trick. Why you wouldn't put in R-A-Y? I'm guessing it would be R-E-E if it was Retrick. Raytrick. My fault, Raytrick.
All right, Bill, do you want to go ahead and get that thing recorded?
Back to business.
No.
I can do AAA real quick, but you and I are gonna have to probably work off air unless you've got to sprint out on just a few seconds on.
Yeah, I actually do. I've got a 9:30 appointment.
We
Take
can do
it.
it Monday. We can do,
Take it to the access. Getting rid of you, kicking you off the live stream. No more business talk. You got a headset for that. They basically have walkie-talkies, right? Nice. So you've done this one before. Well, you can kind of control the pronunciation, right? You don't have to change the name. You can change how you want it pronounced. But you don't want to do that in the middle of your life. That's weird. Like, who's that? The big fella at Alabama? Who is that guy? Oh, the defensive tackle. If you guys can help me with that. I need help with it. Yeah, he scored the touchdown in the national championship game. I should know this. I think he went up to Buffalo, Alabama. It doesn't really narrow it down. Defensive tackle from Alabama. Let's see. I got a list here, and it's not even popping up because I stink. Christian Barmore's popping up because he's the guy. Not Terrence Cody. Who am I thinking of? Maybe he was a D end. Do I have to go with that? There's so many Alabama dudes. You guys help me out with this thing? I'll go Alabama defensive end, see what pops up. Nope. Oh, man. I stink. That's making me mad. Or Terrell Owens instead of Terrell Owens. What am I thinking of? Let's see if you guys are helping me out on the live stream now. Yes. Marcel Darius. It was Darius, right? Well done, Craig. Thank you. And then he changed it to Darius. Craig's all over it. Well done, Craig. I don't know if you want to be on the same wavelength as me after that, but Jeff. There was a Johnny Farr who played as opposed to a Thomas Farr with the F. And that was Klinger on MASH. Is that what you're telling us, Steve? Wow. Yeah, Joe Theismann and Joe Theismann. Nice. The story is that it was Joe Theismann until he was a Heisman Trophy candidate when they changed it to Theismann at Notre Dame. Good stuff, Raytrick. Let's see what other we got. Bring back the Spirit Stick. They basically have it, man. You guys, that's a text in from Matt on the text line. Maybe he's not listening, but oh man, some of the negativity on the text line just boggles my mind. I won't even repeat it. So I feel like I need to put out a YouTube video to help encourage the YouTube subscribers. I was thinking about my just facial reactions during Bill's hot take there, that segment on Carolina baseball. Don't think it translates to the YouTube world though. So, my question to you guys here on the live stream. What happens this weekend? What are I guess there are three different scenarios I feel like for Gamecock fans for this weekend. That the Florida series is going to kind of determine how you look at the rest of the year. You win the series, well, you sweep, first of all, back to the College World Series, right? That's what Bill's going to come in with on Monday. This program is back clearly. You win 2 out of 3, and you have confidence that this team is much more like the 11-0 start than the 6-game losing streak. Or, I guess there are 4 different scenarios, right? You win 1 out of 3 in the series, and people are bummed, but they think you can still make the NCAA tournament. You get swept at home by Florida, and people are just completely off the program bandwagon and are thinking there needs to be new leadership. Those are the 4 scenarios, I guess, right? Thank you, Luke. Unfortunately, there's no beer in there right now. Trying to drop 10 pounds during Lent. That's one of the reasons why. The main reason why. I think I'm there already, but I can't bring the beer back until the final weigh-in on Easter. Well, it depends how you win the first 2 games, Craig. I don't think you win the first 2 games without Brett Carey throwing. Does that make sense? That would mean that you would have substantial leads late. I think the point of going TBA really right now is to put Bosnick in a game Friday or Saturday against lefties, because he's your best lefty option. And then I think you would follow him up with Carey. And they might end up starting Will Sanders on Sunday, would be my guess. I know he threw 67 pitches on Wednesday, but I would think he's probably the best option right now, assuming you throw Bosnick in those first 2 games and Carey. I'd be shocked if they don't throw Carey on Friday or Saturday if they win those games. Now, if you lose those, I think he's more likely to be the starter on Sunday if you lose Friday and Saturday, because you don't want to waste him when you're behind out of the bullpen, unless it's a 1-run game and you feel like you need 3 innings tonight or tomorrow night, maybe. Oh, Bill hasn't rejoined the old video stream.
That sounds, and that one.
They're still working? Man, what a high maintenance guy.
That should work. That should work for a while.
Okay, thanks.
Tell Bill to get back on the live stream.
Yep.
Slacker.
I did. He's logging back in.
Thank you. He didn't have to log out. Still doesn't understand the live
He
stream.
had to listen.
Listen to what?
There's some other work parts with that spot, so he had to listen to that to know what to say to cue in. Kind of a piggyback thing.
Rolling into hour number 3 on a Friday morning. Glad you're a part of the early game experience. And it has been a bit of an experience. Bill completely jinxed it at the end of hour number 2, saying, man, this thing has flown by. So this will be the longest hour of the entire week right now.
I think that intro sums up where we're at with the show. It's been a good show. It really is.
Trying to get Bill worked out in the audio. I think that's Karma shutting him up. There he is. It's in.
Listen, Jen and I are working hard this morning. It's an energetic Friday morning. I really am, all joking aside, excited about the weekend because it's roughly this time last year that I think we gained appreciation for something that really is kind of irrelevant in our lives, sports, and being able to just view sports. I don't take it maybe as casually as I did in the past when I'm able to sit down this weekend and I'm going to be able to watch South Carolina versus Florida baseball, when I'm going to have the NCAA tournament. And I'll get into that in a minute, Tim, because I'll be honest, tomorrow, not particularly thrilled with the slate of games. Not overly excited. I want to get into that with you. Yeah, I see you shaking your head. I want to get into that. The World Golf Championships are going on over in Austin, Texas. It was a fun day yesterday. They've got individual matches. This is match play. They'll go to. I'm a little confused. I was trying to read yesterday because they've got a third match that they've got to play. They're in pods of 4. They play one individual match. It's kind of for lack of a better term, because I feel like this is not our direction we should be taking this, but it's kind of like World Cup qualifying or pool play. Yeah, it's kind of like that, where you play each and everybody. So yesterday you had a great Kevin Kisner, Justin Thomas match. Today you get Kevin Kisner and Matt Kuchar are taking on each other to see who advances, and then you get into the knockout stage. They said yesterday on television the knockout stage starts today, so I'm not sure if it's a 36-hole day with matches in the morning and knockout play in the afternoon. I haven't found what I would deem to be a good schedule that really breaks it down for me. But World Golf Championships are taking place. South women's basketball, South Carolina basketball, 1 o'clock on Sunday against Georgia Tech in the Sweet 16, opportunity to advance to Elite 8. I've seen a lot of people hyping up a potential Maryland versus South Carolina Elite 8 game. I've seen some of you out there already admitting that you took Maryland to beat South Carolina in an Elite 8 game. So, Tim, it's again, and we've got NASCAR, and I'm not being funny. I'm really not. I know I joke a lot. Jen, I did more reading on the dirt track racing last night, and I will spend a portion of Sunday watching it because it is such a neat event. Like I have gotten all serious, being completely serious. What we do with Kerry Carr, what we've done the last few years, I'm not going to sit here and lie to everybody and say, well, it's been 4 days a week, really studying these picks and show up Thursday morning. No, I realize we're about to do a segment with Kerry, and surprisingly, I pop up a website and read the winner and read who I think is going to win and pick them. I know. Pull the curtain back on the show. But I have gotten into watching more NASCAR, and I'll be doing that on Sunday. I've got a little event that I'm going to go to Sunday afternoon after Austin soccer game, and but I'll be watching it on television because, Jen, it is really a unique event. What they're doing, I think it hadn't been done in 50 years.
It's been, yeah.
I think that's what I read. 50 years
like
is
70-ish, yeah.
So
Yeah.
dirt
Cool.
track racing at Bristol. That's
I wish I
actually
could be there. Can you imagine how filthy you are by the end of it? How fun is that?
that doesn't entice me. I will be perfectly happy watching this.
I just feel like being part of it, like, I just think there could be something kind of cool about that.
It anger me more than anything else. But it really is, Tim, an energetic Friday. The weather yesterday was, good grief with the pollen, but it was nice. It was 80s. I think it's going to be nice again today. We'll have some storms kind of throughout the day. But if you're like me, you're looking at your patio furniture, or maybe right now you're driving and you're looking at the hood of your car, and you went from maybe a white car or a red car or a blue car to a yellow car today. You're the proud owner of a pollen dusted yellow car, and hopefully we'll get some rain and wash that away. So I'm in a good mood, man. It's a good Friday. Jen and I have actually done real work off air. I'm energetic, buddy, and I've made one switch that I'm a little disappointed in myself. The first business day, because I've done it on a Saturday. First business day, I've added creamer to my coffee in 2 months, and I didn't give it up for Lent, so it's not like I'm breaking Lent rules. I gave it up for health reasons, but I went creamer in the coffee today, and you and Jen might even agree. You know what, Bill? You're a little bit more energetic. Aside from a slip up on Thomas Farr's name, it's been pretty solid.
You are energetic. I'll give you that one. That was an epic Gas Baggy hot take. That's all over the map, man. All over the map. First of all, what's going on with this match play golf thing? What have they been doing? Is it match play or not? What is this group match play mess that all 64 guys are still in it, right? I'm seeing tee-off times for all 64 dudes.
Yeah, well, again, because it's a 3-day. It started Wednesday, and you play each guy in your pool. You play each guy in your so you got a group stage, again, similar to the best I can. I'm sure there are other great analogies that we can all relate to, but it's similar to the World Cup where you've got everybody in your group.
But that eliminates teams though. If you don't play well in the group, then you're eliminated. But nobody's been eliminated here.
Well, that's because they haven't gotten out of group play. Dustin Johnson has played Robert Mack. Who is Dustin? Does it tell me Dustin Johnson is number one? Is Dustin Johnson is number one in the world? I guess there's a number next to it: 1, 41, 61, 28. So they break it up. So Dustin Johnson's number one in the world. So he's in Group 1. Robert McIntyre, Adam Long, Kevin Na are the guys. And right now, if you win your match, you get a point. If you have your match, you get half a point. If you lose, obvious reasons, you get no points. Dustin Johnson is tied with Robert McIntyre right now at 1.5 points. The winner will advance to the knockout round. There are 16 groups. One guy from each group will advance. So again,
So let me simplify this. So there are guys who have already been knocked out who are going to tee off today. Okay,
Yep.
That's all I'm looking for. And then they'll figure it out after this final group play match, and then they'll go into match play after that, the real match play. Because this thing used to be just straight up match play, and I'm guessing guys would make the trip for one match and be ticked off that they played 10 holes, get blown out, and that was it. Or they needed to change that format. That makes sense to me. All right, I see how we're going forward. I think Dustin Johnson is the only number 1 seed still alive moving forward in this thing, even though the other number 1 seeds in this thing are going to play. So that helps me understand it. Thank you, Bill, for bringing some clarity to that situation.
I'm looking to see. What I'm trying to get a breakdown right now is how the days work, because obviously, I guess maybe tomorrow it needs to be 36 holes. This thing is not carrying through to Monday. So what I'm assuming is tomorrow is 36 holes to get us to the championship on Sunday, because like you said, you would have the round of 16. Maybe it's 36 over the weekend is what it is.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
Saturday.
trying to.
I think they might play 36 tomorrow and 36 on Sunday if you continue to win.
Maybe that's I'm trying to get
Again,
a little bit more.
Clearly, this thing needs to be a little more simplified for those of us who actually like golf to even understand it or get into it. But I understand sometimes you got to make tweaks to the format and keep the players happy as well. What's wrong with the slate of games tomorrow in the NCAA tournament? Oregon State Loyola is the first matchup of Cinderella. So we're going to get one Cinderella in the Elite Eight. They're a 12-8 seed. It's the first game at 240. And then the second game, to me, you can't ask for a much better matchup than Baylor-Villanova, right?
Well, here's why. I'm with you normally. Villanova's so banged up. A lot of us, I think they were the popular pick, not because Winthrop was the better basketball team, but because Villanova is so banged up. I think that's the reason they were the highest percentage to be knocked off in that 12 versus 5. You always get the 12 versus 5 upset. And typically, you're right. I would be thrilled with this. But I think, and I'll look now just to see if I'm right. I think Baylor is actually, for basketball lines, is kind
7.5.
Yeah, that's a big line for basketball, for college basketball. And a lot of it is because this Villanova team is not 100%. I see them kind of rolling over Villanova. You are right. That would be a matchup I'd be excited about. Oral Roberts in Arkansas is our evening game, 7:25.
Arkansas is an 11-point favorite.
Yeah, that's a lot. Arkansas is going to roll that. Syracuse, Houston.
Oral Roberts is just the second 15 seed ever to make the Sweet 16, man. What would you expect?
Does that make it must-see TV?
Yes. For at least to start. If it's a blowout, then no. But you telling me there's 10 minutes left in this game and it's within 5 points that you're not going to be texting people to go check this thing out?
Well, yeah, if that happens. I mean, if there's 5 minutes to go, if we play 35 minutes and then there's 5 minutes left, let me ask you, is there a difference for you? There's got to be, I hope. And I would assume this for everybody. There's a difference between having it on because it's on a Saturday evening and you're grilling or you're doing whatever with your kids or your family or a significant other, whatever, and having appointment television viewing. Like, man, I'm going to sit down and watch that. Right? Does that make sense? Do you have that? Are you that guy? Or is it just you sit down and I'm into this?
I am in the NCAA tournament in this Sweet 16 matchup where I don't have connections to teams. This is on. I'm going to pay attention to the score. And if the score dictates that I need to pay more attention to it,
there you go.
And that's what I'm going to do. They have to earn it.
And there you go. That's exactly where I'm at with it. I think so. We agree wholeheartedly, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not going to ignore Oregon State, Loyola, Chicago. I'm not. It's not like I'm not going to ignore it. I said the NCAA basketball tournament is on this weekend, and I'm not going to ignore it. But I wonder how many other people view it as like, all right, man, I got to get the yard work done, or I've got spring cleaning done by 2:40 because the NCAA tournament is coming on, and I want to sit down with a delicious bowl of buffalo chicken dip or salsa or whatever it is you snack on out there, and start watching, because I don't feel that way now. Let's go back here for a second. If I have a bracket somewhere in front of me, Tennessee. It would have been Tennessee, and it would have been Illinois. Is the two teams that got knocked off. I'll admit, if it was Tennessee, Illinois tomorrow at 2:40, I would probably be going out of my way to make sure I was back at the house or sitting down, ready to watch that game. The athleticism of Tennessee, Brad Underwood, and Illinois, Kofi Cockburn. I would be sitting down to watch that. I'm with you with Loyola and Oregon State. It'll be on the television. I'll be doing the same thing that I think you just said you'll be doing. I'll be checking the score. If it's looking like it's coming down to a buzzer beater, I will promptly put myself in front of the TV to check it out. But I'm with you when I look at the matchups tomorrow. There's not one that I'm like, man, okay, NCAA tournament, that looks like a really fun matchup. I'm excited to sit down and watch it. Do you understand where I'm coming from now?
Absolutely, but Baylor-Villanova is that to me. I get it that Villanova's banged up, but they made it to the Sweet 16. They clearly have tons of grit like that program always does. Baylor is supremely talented and deep, and I will pay more attention to that early on than the other matchups, because the other ones on paper are, you're right, but Houston and Syracuse in the nightcap there is the smallest line at 6.5, Houston favored. That's a 2 versus 11, but not a typical 11 seed in Syracuse and Jim Boeheim. And we understand what that program is in the NCAA tournament, especially with the zone against this Houston team. That might be a pretty good matchup actually for Syracuse. So I'm going to be watching these things, and then again, how competitive the game is will determine my ultimate investment. But that's how it always is. What was it? The last Monday, that Monday slate of games looked pretty good on paper, and they turned out to all be stinkers, except the LSU Michigan game, which didn't come down to the final seconds by any stretch of the imagination. So I understand your perspective going in, but that's the brilliance of the NCAA tournament, I feel like, is that these things kind of sneak up on us. I don't think anybody's expecting Oral Roberts in Arkansas right now to be an epic NCAA tournament game, but it could turn out that way. And it could also turn out to be a 40-point blowout, and Arkansas could roll. Who knows? So I'm just, again, a year fast-forwarded from where we were this time last year. I am just happy that we have this thing going as part of our sports weekend. That you're right. It sets up as a good weekend, especially from the Gamecock perspective, with USC women going at 1 o'clock on Sunday against Georgia Tech, looking to cash their ticket into the Elite Eight. Bond did not like Hope's take that she is predicting that Maryland will knock off the Gamecocks in the Elite Eight. Being a Gamecock fan, he doesn't quite understand that logic, but I get it. Hope is clearly filling out her bracket with her head as opposed to the heart, and I understand. And she says she's definitely keeping her eye on the Loyola game. Yeah, I'm fascinated to see that one. That Loyola of Chicago is a 7.5-point favorite in a Sweet 16 game. Again, part of the brilliance of the NCAA tournament. What Carolina baseball can do against Florida this weekend is going to be wildly interesting from those of us who follow the Gamecock baseball game. And Matt says he's more interested in the Carolina baseball game, and I totally get that. As things set up right now, it's going to be quite the challenge in this series for Carolina, because Florida is really, really good. Florida has been really, really good. Break down some of the numbers for you, the times, the TV appointments that you might need to make as we continue to roll on, and let you hear a little bit from Mark Kingston and his perspective on getting the boot in that series finale against Vandy that he let us in on last night at Carolina Calls. Also let you hear from Shane Beamer as we roll on. He met the media for a little bit more than 35 minutes yesterday, talking about where his team and program are 3 practices into spring workouts. So we got plenty on tap here in hour number 3 with an energetic Bill Gunter, but he slipped back to the creamer and the coffee. So do you even have an explanation besides weakness?
What now?
Do you have an explanation for why that happened this morning?
Just a curveball to the system. I've been dragging a little bit. I wonder if others are like me, because I feel like our demographic, our age group is around our age, somewhere between the 30 to 50 age group. I'm 38. I'll be 39 in a little a little less than a month and a half. You're 42 or 43.
Old.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah. And all I'm saying is, for whatever reason, the cold this year, like, and I didn't even think it was like a drastically cold winter, but the cold and then the pollen and everything, it's really gotten to me. And I'm not a person, Tim, you know, I have various ailments that I would hobble into the studio constantly, where you always referred to how old I am. But one thing I can say is I never have really gotten sick, and I got sick the last few weeks with this viral infection, and man, it's really taken a toll on me. And so I just, you know, went just through a curveball the system, went back to a little bit of coffee creamer this morning. I'll get back to the coffee for wellness on Monday morning and be just fine. But yeah, it's a good little curveball on a Monday morning, Friday morning, buddy. I'm happy. I'm good. We got sports ready to go. Just we do 6 hours today. We could just keep rolling right on into Dan Patrick if you want.
It is the Bill Gunter extravaganza. He's the Energizer Bunny this morning with his creamer and his coffee. It's the early game here on 175.
I'm also actually multitasking. I might or might not be doing some Amazon shopping while we're doing this. Come on, Jen, don't roll your eyes. You've never done. I'm looking at some bathing suits right now.
Can you throw it to the commercial too?
Wait a minute. What do you think?
Yeah.
But you got to do stuff for the live stream, people. Are you subscribed to the live stream this morning? Tim never promotes it. If 1075 The Game YouTube page, go subscribe.
You can see Bill's swim trunks potentially. There's a seller.
Not well. The ones I might buy. Might. We're looking at it.
It's a potential. That also means maybe.
That's a bet too.
Please go to commercial.
Right now.
The Gamecocks and new head football coach Shane Beamer. 1075 The Game.
Oh, do I have one here?
A good Greg Norman shirt.
I need to get this show back on track here. And to help you do that, I need to give you some advice. If you're in the market right now for refinancing, which is a great market to be in, if you're looking maybe at a new house, that's kind of where my family and I are right now with the addition of number 3, babe, thinking about potentially getting a new house, checking into the mortgage options out there, the lending options. Just put Buford Lending on your list. That's all Benji Getzi and company ask. They've got plenty of experience down at Buford Lending and looking to help you out. They know you're going to be smart. You're going to do your homework. You're going to talk to multiple people. You certainly probably already have a relationship with a lender. Definitely see what they can do for you. Benji recommends. But also just give him a call. 843-524-2404 is the number to Buford Lending. Been in business again for 25 years, plenty of experience there, and Buford Lending is a mortgage broker. Benji is not attached to a bank, so therefore he feels like he has the experience and the flexibility to find the best deal for you, and just wants you to check him out. 843-524-2404 again. It's Buford Lending, my broker, your broker, and South Carolina's broker. I'd given up on the show. Had to get back in.
You guys gotta.
What is this? ESPN autoplay.
Let's see if I can order this. I was on the Greg Norman website. Let's see if I can order this stuff through.
Attaboy, Trey. You're giving us a play-by-play breakdown of your Amazon order?
Yeah. Precisely. Ooh, I like this Greg Norman shirt.
Neil Med. Somebody hit us up on the text line. Will and Irmo says try a Neil Med. Just discovered it. Really helps with the allergies.
Yeah, I honestly took a pill yesterday. To try something different.
Bill is not a Jack Daniels guy, Ty.
No, we went and bought yesterday. I went and bought for my. I bought 4 roses. I bought 4 roses, and I bought Yellowstone. Anybody out there tried Yellowstone yet? And Jack Daniels isn't creamer. I'm well aware of that. I followed Greg Norman on Instagram. I didn't see that. All right, we're not going to use Amazon. Looks like the Greg Norman website offers cheaper prices here.
Craig, why was that notable? I'm guessing it's probably for a reason that I'm going to be sorry I asked. I think. Yeah, the 4 roses did confuse me as well, Ty. Should go to the liquor store or Lowe's, he said.
No, liquor store.
I am sorry I asked. Craig, leave it to Craig to cross the line, always.
Oh, Greg. Yeah. What do y'all? Has anybody tried 4 roses? Do we have not 4 roses? Yellowstone. It came highly recommended yesterday, and I'm giving it a shot. I've tried it once before, and I wasn't overly impressed, but I figured I'd give it a second shot. Somebody brought some down, and I figured I would give it a shot, and because right now I've got Crown Peach, Crown Apple, and a limited edition Crown Casket Reserve in there. And then I've got Evan Williams, 4 roses. I just drank the rest of the Bowman Brothers. So I got Yellowstone and now that 4 roses. Oh, and Jim Beam Vanilla. They've yet to tell me how much these shirts are going to cost with shipping. I don't have a company name.
For those of you clicking on Craig's link, I do not understand you.
Ranch dressing soda. What are you discussing, Trey? That sounds awful.
Just absolute mayhem this thing has turned into now.
It's a good morning, brother. Y'all got to get into it. Jen, we do have to. Where did Jen go?
What? What do we have to do?
I just got to cut a small AAA commercial maybe in the next break. It's going to take 23 seconds. My hat turnaround count is 3. That's what I do when I get excited. I'm like Costanza when he's hanging out with who was the old MTV personality that he comes in? Tony, what was it? Some egg salad? Want some egg salad? Some sandwiches when we're scaling the rocks?
What was that dude's real name, though? Dang it.
Huh?
What was his real name?
Was it Dan?
Yep.
Heading back in.
Who? Dan Cortez.
Dan Cortez.
Woo.
Tony.
Oh, the internet's a great thing, Bill. Just a random Seinfeld reference, and we got Dan Cortez out of it. Your stream of consciousness is at an all-time high, by the way. You know that right now, right?
In all seriousness, I haven't felt great. I mean, y'all remember a couple weeks ago, in between breaks, I felt so bad. I would go over right to my left. I would just lay on the floor in between breaks. It got to the point that like about 8 o'clock, Patrick was clearly had zero sympathy for how I felt and all I heard, I was laid on the floor, and all I heard was like Patrick going on the live stream. Where's Bill? He's left every live stream break. He's not even participating today. And I was just surviving. And today's as good as I felt. And again, I'm excited, Tim. Even though now I will say Sunday's lineup for the NCAA tournament, I am excited about Creighton and Gonzaga. I want to see Gonzaga again. I think that's a good test for them. Florida State, Michigan, I think is the game of the weekend. I think Michigan's playing really well. The athleticism of Florida State. We could see another number one go down this weekend. That's kind of I think that's the 5 o'clock game on Sunday afternoon. I think that's a good one. UCLA's hot, and as Patrick pointed out, if Alabama goes cold from 3-point range, that one could get it entertaining. But I like Alabama in that one. And then Oregon Southern Cal is.
You ain't gonna make it late Sunday night. Get out. Who you fooling? Who are you fooling? 9:45 tip time at the earliest. Probably be later than that. Yeah, you'll be lucky to catch the first half before you'll be lucky to catch the tip off.
No, that's it. Look at the schedule. That's at Bankers Life Fieldhouse, and Michigan, Florida State tip off at 5. So it's going to be. If you look at it, they're doing.
I see.
Fieldhouse
Different places. Yep.
So that'll be ready to go at 9:45. I do have a golf.
I don't know. You think they might push it? If I guess the 7:15 start time, it shouldn't overlap. But since they're not in the same places, I'm wondering if they would. I guess they wouldn't push tip time back, but you never know these days with the TV being the end all be all. But Creighton and Gonzaga is the biggest spread of the weekend. Gonzaga 13-point favorite right now, and that last game, Oregon Southern Cal, just ahead of Florida State Michigan for the smallest spread of the weekend at 2 points. And it's 2.5 for Michigan Florida State. I'm with you on paper, Michigan Florida State. Sometimes those games with Florida State, though, because of all the athleticism and the depth, can turn into a slugfest, kind of like the Gamecocks back in that Final Four run that Hope just reminded us. It was 4 years ago today that Carolina was headed to the Final Four, a tie. It says, who does Carolina men's basketball play in the tournament? Is he tried to be hilarious? The women overplayed Georgia Tech, just in case you haven't heard about that. And again, that's 1 o'clock on Sunday. I wanted to give you some details about the baseball series that I know a lot of you are zoned into, especially if you view the men's tournament only from the Gamecock lens. 7 o'clock tonight, first pitch, SEC Network Plus, both Friday and Saturday's games. And the Saturday game set for a 4 o'clock first pitch like usual. And on Sunday, it will be the series finale on the regular SEC Network, and that's going to be a noon first pitch. That's where it's TBA for the Gamecocks, and I think it gets really interesting with how they're going to use their pitching staff this weekend. Same Friday and Saturday starters as usual. Thomas Farr tonight, and Brandon Jordan tomorrow. And these Florida starters, the first two especially, to get them back to school was a big deal for Kevin O'Sullivan and company, and was a bit of a reflection on where we were this time last year, just with baseball, Bill. The very much downsized Major League Baseball draft from 30 rounds down to 5 or 7, whatever it was, and then only having 16 games for most programs last year, with the season cut short, about a third, not even a third of the way through, a fourth of the way through. That is the reason, the most likely reason that you're getting these guys back, and they have performed. They have been as advertised and then some so far. The Florida frontline pitching, I'm talking about Tommy Mace tonight. He's 4-0, 2.1 ERA, 42 strikeouts, and 4 walks. And then Jack Leftwich, an even better ERA with a 4-0 record as well, going in the Saturday game at 1.71, 29 strikeouts and 9 walks. So I get it. Last week, we are a little bit more familiar with Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter, with Rocker throwing a no-hitter in the Super Regionals as a freshman a couple of years ago, and then being the most outstanding player of the College World Series and being Tracy Rocker's son. And Jack Leiter, the son of former big leaguer Al Leiter, who threw a major league no-hitter back in the day, and ended up throwing the no-hitter last week against the Gamecocks. Plenty of motivation, and obviously being back at home has got to help after the last 2 series with Texas and Vandy being away. What are you expecting, Bill? Do you have any idea what to expect this weekend? Because after an 11-0 start and then 6 straight losses, then bouncing back and showing some grit in that series finale, winning that one at Vandy and cruising earlier this week. I feel like Gamecock baseball has kind of seen it all in just this less than 20 games sample size so far.
I'm going to cop out on you here. I expect really good competitive games. What I don't know, or what I'm not sure to expect, is can South Carolina get timely hitting to push runs across? You feel like what I expect, I guess, is low-scoring ball games with these pitching staffs. And you look at the Vanderbilt series. Obviously, Sunday got up there. What was it, 7-5, I believe, or 6-5? Got up there a little bit. But can South Carolina get the timely hitting that they need, or is it Florida that gets the key hits late in the game? I envision or expect these games to get to the 7th inning, and how do bullpens act? How do batters react? Can you get the timely hitting and push guys across the plate? And I think that's what I'm most interested to see from South Carolina. They hit the ball well. I know they struck out, but they hit the ball well also out in Austin. Then you go against Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter. Don't make excuses. South Carolina is a good baseball team themselves, and they shouldn't be no hit. They shouldn't have, what was the number, 36 straight outs. But I also understand that those are really good pitchers. I think South Carolina will have success at the plate this week, but success in getting the timely hit with guys in scoring position is two entirely different things. And can South Carolina do that when it matters the most, Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
I don't remember a pivotal series. I'm sure we had some of these in the Chad Holbrook era, especially towards the end there, that early on in the year, here in March, where you felt like almost a fan base was willing to go one way or the other with not just this season, but kind of the program. I feel like if you get a win here at home in the series against Florida, that people were going to have a lot more confidence in Mark Kingston and company moving forward. And if you don't, it's easy to go the other way at this point, making it would be 3 consecutive series losses against big-time opponents. Again, what you do this weekend isn't going to make or break the season completely, but I think from a fan perspective, it is going to have a huge impact on how a lot of Gamecock fans view the rest of the year, and it is massively important, no doubt about it. There are a lot of other big-time challenges ahead of Carolina with 5 teams in the SEC ranked 1 through 5 in the latest D1Baseball.com poll, and Carolina still has series against 3 more coming up. So it's not the end-all be-all, but it will go a long way. To me, the sign will be, if you see a lot of Brett Carey on Friday and Saturday, that's a good sign for Gamecock baseball, because he has been outstanding, giving up just the 1 earned run this year, the home run, the solo shot against Clemson. That's it. And if he can be coming out of the bullpen with a lead, that's where Carolina needs to be. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him in all 3 games. Possibly, if you see him in all 3 games, that's going to be a great sign for Gamecock baseball, meaning he's on to close it out late. And if you see him starting on Sunday, to me, that's probably not a good sign for where the Carolina pitching staff might be at that point. But we'll see. 803-404-6100. Love to hear your thoughts going into the Carolina-Florida series. Get into the Gamecock football discussion, wrapping things up. Some comments from Shane Beamer as he talked yesterday for the first time after having blown the whistle at a Carolina practice as the head coach. You're listening to the early game here. It's 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game. The game is on the air.
Oh, 80 degrees yesterday. Temperatures are definitely on the rise. Are you confident? Are you sure that your heating and air unit is working, especially your air? I don't think you need to worry so much about the heat anymore. You need to give AAA Heating and Air a call today. Make sure they come out and do an inspection. Check over your heating and air unit. Again, check over your air conditioner, because these temperatures, when they get up there, man, you want that air conditioner to be working. Trust me, you want your family to be comfortable. If they're not comfortable, generally they let you know about it. You become uncomfortable because you're hot, because you're agitated, because they're letting you know about it. Go with someone who's going to act like they're part of your family and get it fixed. AAA Heating and Air. Give them a phone call today, 803-677-3700. 1500. How about this? Right now, they will offer you $1,500 to buy back your old unit, and then they'll give you 0% financing and no money down on a new unit. So get them out. Let them do an inspection. Great time. Let them come over, check out everything you got going on. You got people that are trustworthy. That's a family-run business. You can believe in what they tell you. 803-677-1500. I've gotten them out to my house, had them inspect things, make sure that I'm ready to go for the Columbia summer. You need to do the same. That phone number again, 803-677-1500. You heard me right. They'll come check it out. If you got an issue, they'll pay you $1,500 to buy back your old unit plus 0% financing and no money down on a new unit. You can't top that. It's family helping family. Give AAA Heating and Air a call today, 803-677-1500. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
From the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Carlton's daily track and field update. 26 schools. Wow. It's impressive that they can do that in these days and times. Attaboy, Mark. Way to battle. So you got to sleep in a little bit is what I'm seeing from Mark. Good Friday. Good start for his weekend.
South Carolina had 22 hits over 3 games. They did strike out. You're right. They struck out 26 times, but they had 7 hits on Saturday, 11 hits on Sunday. It's not like, I mean, the 4 hits, the Friday night performance, 4 hits, 8 strikeouts wasn't great, but I mean, again, you're not talking about like an awful hitting. When you have 11 hits in a game on a Sunday, that's not awful hitting. And 7 hits is probably, what do you think, Tim? What's the average number of hits in a baseball game? I've never looked that up.
I would guess 8 or so. But you're burying the lead there. They out hit Texas that game 7-4, I think.
Yeah, they did. They couldn't get runners across. Well, 25. I said hit the ball. I didn't say they got runners on base. 25 ground outs that's hitting the baseball. That's the definition of hitting the baseball. Now, getting on base is entirely different, and scoring runs. Well,
would you have been more impressed, Ty, with flyouts? I don't understand.
I mean,
you know they're going to be. Let's see. Let me do the math real quick. They're going to be 81 outs in a series, no matter what. You got to get out 81 times in baseball. That's how it works when you're the visiting team. I think you can knock that down by 9 if you're the home team and you have the lead going into the ninth.
Yeah. Oh, Jen, let's cut this real quick just so you don't have to do it. Tim, if you want to.
Yeah, I'll take you off.
We have to work.
Could do it after the show. Yeah, Mark, Florida's really dang good. Runs would have been nice, Ty. No doubt. Sometimes in baseball, you hit the ball well and you don't get anything to show for it. That's why Stuart Lake was using the word demoralizing. Now, fans can get bummed about that, but you try to keep the mindset more positive, I think, around the team. But then you go and you face Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter. That's why that Davidson loss was so alarming, I think, because they had been so bad going in, getting just absolutely crushed at the Citadel over the weekend, that they came into Founders Park and got the win. That was alarming. I hope you see the irony there. I'm sure you do. No, we definitely did not talk about Lon Kruger retiring. We might have mentioned that in about 3 seconds earlier, Bill. Quite the career for Lon Kruger, though, man. He's been all over the place. Where was he at? Was he at Illinois at some point, too, before Florida, maybe I'm thinking? Let me look up his – I know it's Florida, UNLV, Oklahoma. I think it was Illinois before Florida. Let's look up his career. Kansas State is where he played. Oh, I didn't know that. And coached. Yeah, so it was Illinois after Florida. Wow. Head coach at UT Pan American, Kansas State, Florida, Illinois, the Hawks for 3 years, the Knicks as an assistant, UNLV for 7 or 8 years, and Oklahoma for the last decade. Holy crap. He was there for a decade? I feel like Jeff Capel was just there. Played against Jason Capel in high school, but. All right, looks like Bill's ready to go now.
We're back.
Nice work, Charlie Brown. Ty, that's ridiculous. What about the baseball transfer that hadn't played this year?
Do you know his name? Schuler?
No, I don't know his name because he didn't play.
I think it was Schuler.
The timing was weird, but besides that, it happens in baseball. You don't play, you transfer.
No, Bill. Lon Kruger's coached for 44 years. I think he's just he's coached long enough.
Right. You didn't see any news, Mark, because the kid never played. Yeah, maybe that's a good idea. He might just be around the program.
Go help out. Go hang out.
Right. Kind of like Billy Donovan's dad did, just sat on the bench, hanging out with his socks.
Head back in.
Was it vital? Oh, Ty, I'm grizzled. You're right. You're grizzling me. Jen, can we play one of Beamer's clips here, whichever one you would prefer?
I'm sorry, Beamer?
Yes, please.
Yep. Five up.
Shane Beamer yesterday, 3 spring practices in. Some of what he had to say kind of big picture wise. He did get into some details and did name some players specifically. Jordan Birch in a special teams drill, I think might have been the first guy he mentioned. And then Ortre Smith with the wide receivers having looked good and made some plays. Also mentioned Rico Powers and Josh Van specifically making plays. Was asked about the quarterbacks and how Luke Doty is the only guy returning with experience and doing his best to lead. Said he doesn't look like a freshman out there or doesn't come off that way with his leadership skills and maturity. Interesting to hear from Shane Beamer yesterday at this point, also how he's handling it. And I'm trying to listen, Bill, because as he was talking about tracking and keeping track of penalties and that kind of thing, that is just what we heard from Will Muschamp, and I'm basically that's just standard operating procedure from all big-time college football programs at this point. But I'm trying to make sure that I'm as fair as possible listening to Shane Beamer and then trying to remember what we've heard from Will Muschamp, Steve Spurrier in recent times, because the delivery is definitely different, right? It's going to be different, and I think it's easy for us to maybe over-exaggerate the difference in approach from Shane Beamer compared to past coaches, just because I think he puts a bit of a more energetic, positive approach to it that frankly I think you would expect from a first-year head coach. I mean, yesterday was his first press conference as a head coach after being the head coach at practice at all. And after this is a 21-year career now, I think, as an assistant coach. So that's where I'm at with Shane Beamer and company. I know you mentioned earlier you feel like he's putting more of an emphasis on the team as opposed to individuals. I'm not quite sure that I agree with that to this point, but it is so early that there's so many unknowns right now for Gamecock football. Have you officially crashed over there? I see your head was on your hand as the roller coaster come back down after you were so rolling earlier.
Paying attention to you. I was trying to.
Oh, you're shopping. Got it.
I was trying to figure out how to purchase this shirt in a different color. No, I'm listening to you. I think that I can multitask, buddy. Especially when you add creamer to the coffee.
No.
I think there is unknowns. We don't know about Clayton White's 4-2-5 defense. We don't know. We really, really, really don't know about Marcus Satterfield's offense. I think Jason Brown being added to the quarterback situation maybe concerns people a little bit just because of what everybody went through with Colin Hill and Ryan Helinski last year. Even though you didn't have the body of work from Luke Doty that you did from Ryan Helinski, who played in 11 games. Luke Doty played in 3. But you're still talking about an in-state guy who was a highly recruited quarterback coming out. So I think that those unknowns make it more interesting to listen to. But I'm with you. And again, you're right. I just believe that right now Shane Beamer is taking a more of a team approach. Now, he did mention guys individually yesterday. It's not like he spent 35 minutes and never once mentioned this guy looks a little bit better or that guy looks a little bit better, or he mentions some guys. But I do feel like, and maybe it's me reading too much into it, that he's going out of his way to praise. When he says leaders, I don't hear him being completely specific. He did mention yesterday Luke Doty is going out there with the first team and guys are looking at him as the first team quarterback, as the starter, and as a leader. But I don't feel like he's going out of his way to say, oh, yeah, I got some seniors on this team, some guys who have been around, Rick Sandage, a Zach Pickens, a Dylan Wanham, that have been around and are leaders. I don't hear him talking about, well, Kevin Harris had 1,000 yards, and that's a guy that's really leading down. I feel like it is a team effort right now. But part of that is still the new car smell that Shane Beamer. I thought it was a great question yesterday, what it was like, and he even said it was a great question. So apparently he's in a pod. But the first time as a coach, and I thought this was an interesting question just because you don't think about it this way. You blow the whistle as a head coach, Tim, and the team circles around you, as opposed to being the assistant and the head coach blows the whistle and maybe you're on the outside. But I think that's something that, again, there's a learning curve for him as well. South Carolina fans are going to have to understand that it's not going to be perfect. Dabo didn't knock it out of the park right away at Clemson. There was a learning curve. Mistakes were made. I think Shane's doing the same thing. You hope that the results end up being semi-similar, just close. But look, do you think? I mean, honestly, any program that takes over, do you think the results? I say semi-similar. It's unrealistic to expect 95% of the programs to do what Clemson's done, right?
Correct. I'm with you on that.
So you just hope it's but the bottom line is, he's learning, and there is to your question while I was shopping but listening, there are a lot of similarity. There are a lot of things that are still unknowns that we won't know until I think after the East Carolina game. Is that fair? When we've watched 8 quarters of football, and you feel a little bit.
Yeah, and even then, I don't know if anybody is going to be completely sure about the direction of the program in the 2021 season. I think you might have to wait to some SEC competition. I wanted to end the show here, the week, on a really interesting note, Bill. I hadn't realized this. Bill M. hits us up on the Facebook live stream. I'm not sure we've actually won a series against Florida, being Gamecock baseball, at Founders Park yet. Not 100% sure on that. You can be 100% sure now. I just did the work. Hadn't happened. There has been one split. There was one, I think it was 2016, where one game was rained out and they split 2 games. But Florida has had the upper hand on the Gamecocks at Founders Park in the last decade plus. Carolina, 1 game behind all time in the series. I think it's 48-47. So something to remember going into tonight. 7 o'clock first pitch, SEC Network Plus, Friday and Saturday. Bill, you approve of that stat?
That is
Early
a
in the
great
week.
way to end the week. Factual information on this show. Good job.
How about that? We have some knowledge. Thanks for listening to the early game. Attaboy, Bill. Thanks for your help on that one. Bill Morgan, that is. Not Bill Gunter.
That's my kind of show.
That was something.
That was a good show. High energy, a lot of topics.
A lot of online shopping.
A lot of production.
A lot of production. We worked hard this morning. We all deserve a weekend.
I think so. So, Bill, I did get your spot down to the time it needed to be.
Are you
but
serious?
You took out all your breath. So, if you wouldn't breathe, you would have hit your time. Just like-
That's 23 seconds, people. 23 seconds. It's hard. I have a
Oh, is that
tough
what
job.
Oh, I thought it was supposed to be 26. I got it.
No, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. Send it over.
I did.
But you guys behind the live, it's tough. Our job is tough. Jen's was tougher this morning.
Hope, you too, Craig. We see you.
Absolutely.
Mark, if that happens, that will be it will be a celebratory Monday for sure. Alan, it depends on the knowledge, right? What's good? Almost every time at the Sarge? I don't know about that, but certainly more often than not. I hear you.
We learned knowledge is power. We learned that on Schoolhouse Rock.
The more you know.
Unless you watch Higher Learning, then you're supposed to unlearn, I think.
Uh-oh.
All right, live stream. See you guys on Monday. Thanks for making the show better.